All right, so today we are going to play Monsterhearts 2. We're going to start with a round of introductions, just so we can get to know each other, and also so that anyone who's watching can know us as well. My name is Avery Alder. I designed this game. My pronouns are she, her. So when we introduce yourself, just tell us your name, your pronouns, and if you could, just really quickly, how's your day going, or like what kind of energy are you bringing into this? Or if there's anything kind of like your day's context-wise you want us to know, let us know. So for myself, the only thing I wanted to mention is like my day's going really great, but I am recovering from a cold. So if I'm sniffling the whole time, I apologize. Going down the introductions, let's go Shane.
Hey, I'm Shane, he, him. I had a fairly long day, and I'm working. I'm probably a little bit low energy, but I have some caffeine in me, and I have some food in me, so I'm hoping to rally. So yeah, that's where I am.
All right, and Saul.
I'm Saul. I am. It's morning here in Australia, so I am still kind of waking up, trying to get going. Just had a coffee, and I've got 2 small children, so a little bit sleep deprived, but I'm doing my best to get the energy up there. And I use he, him.
I totally forgot about time zones. Playing Monsterhearts.
Yeah, it's the morning. It's a little odd, but we'll get there.
Awesome. And Ollie.
Hi, I'm Ollie Jeffrey, he, him. I'm good. I've had a good day so far. The time zone thing is a thing. It's very early in the morning here, so it's like 1 in the morning here. So if you see me looking a little bleary-eyed, then that is why. But very excited to play. So enthusiasm is gonna get me through.
Awesome. If it does get too late and you just do need to like exit out and go crash at any point, let us know. And I don't think anyone will be unforgiving about that.
I am so pumped full of caffeine. I'm sure I'll be fine.
You must be dedicated.
How about you, Christopher?
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris. He, him. I have had sort of a long weekend. I got called into work on both of my days off, which was yesterday and today, and I'm fighting a cold, but I've been looking forward to this since registration opened, so I am super pumped, and I'm in the moment, and I'm ready to do this. So Monsterhearts is one of my favorite games, and my real-life tabletop group doesn't really jive with it, so I'm always excited when I get a chance.
Awesome. And how about you, Dylan?
So I'm Dylan, he, him, and I'm East Coast USA, but that's not why I'm pumped. I'm pumped because it's Gauntlet Con, and I've been having a lot of fun. And I just ran a game, so I'm coming off the high from that, or I still have the high from that. So I'm super excited to play.
Awesome. So we today are going to we're going to play Monsterhearts 2. We're going to use one of the small towns, which is kind of like a pre-made setting that helps us do some initial setup and get started a little bit faster. Although obviously I wrote this game, I know it kind of backwards and forwards. I'm still going to be using going through the MG Seats like guide for how to set up to play, because I like playing by the rules, even when I wrote them. So the next thing up is explaining the premise and some roles. I'm going to flip through my book a little bit here. I'm just going to read through a few paragraphs from the book. This is from an early section called High School Horror Show, which will hopefully give us a bit of the context for what this game is. Monsterhearts 2 is about the messy lives of teenagers who are secretly monsters. It explores the terror and confusion of having a body that is changing without your permission. The monstrosity of these characters is literal. They are vampires, werewolves, witches, and more. But their monstrosity is also allegorical, standing in for experiences of alienation, shame, queerness, and self-destruction. Aside from the MC, who is me, each of you players is in charge of creating and playing a single main character. Each of those main characters starts with a skin that defines what kind of monster they are. For example, the witch. Skins are both literal and allegorical. The vampire is an actual vampire, an immortal being who drinks on blood, but they are also a manipulative person who treats consent like a game. They're both things at once, and the ebb and flow between the metaphorical and the literal will help define the character's story. So that's what Monsterhearts is in the tiniest of nutshells. Every game at GauntletCon is using a tool for making sure that everyone feels safe at play and that their needs and life experiences are respected and valued. And so the tool that we have is called the X card. And the way that it works is as we're going about, we're telling our story and creating our game. If there's any content that comes up that you find triggering or that feels like an uncomfortable direction that you don't want to explore through play, or like it can be a small thing, whatever it is. If there's something that you're like, no, I don't want that in the game, you can use the X card. And if we were playing in person, we'd have a literal card with an X on it in the center of our table. But since we don't have that, you can invoke the X card simply by saying, I'd like to use the X card, or I'd like to X that, or even, no, I want to do something different, please. However it feels natural and easiest for you to say it. When we use the X card in this game, if you're the one who uses it, you have kind of the power to dictate like what you need to have happen to deal with that content having been introduced. By default, what happens is we cut that particular content, and whoever introduced it rewinds a few seconds, replaces it with something different, and keeps going. However, like if we're talking about triggers and if we're talking about problematic content, potentially that's not going to be enough to make you feel grounded and supported and like your needs are being centered in the game. So if you're like, hey, actually, X that, and I want to talk about why for a minute, that's fine. If you're like, X that, can we take a 5-minute break and in the chat talk about like how to handle this? That's fine. If you're like, X that content really sucked, can I just tell you how this scene goes in a way that would work for me? That's fine as well. The X card, we're going to use it really flexibly. It's a way of signaling like, hey, I have a need that is different than that narrative that just got put into the fiction. But by default, it's just we replace that content and we move on. And you don't have to explain anything that you don't want to explain. So can I just get thumbs up from anyone who, or thumbs up from everyone who's okay with that procedure? Sweet, lots of thumbs. We are going to pitch today 2 different small towns, so 2 different settings that we could play Monsterhearts in, and then by consensus pick one. So I've already shared with all of you a drive containing all the resources for play. And one of the things in that was the Monsterhearts 2 Small Towns document. So if you could all open that up. And the 2 towns that we're picking between are the very first one and the very last one. So the very first one is called Allswell. It's Allswell, British Columbia. It's a tiny town in northern BC. And the tagline for it is simply, buildings and sections of streets slowly fall into the sinkhole. Will someone volunteer to read the background to this town?
I can read it. Okay, all's well. This must have started off small, right? And small things can be dealt with. But for some reason the pit wasn't, and the decades passed, it grew, and to this day the geological surveys remain unconducted. 2 generations, at least, have watched the streets slowly be eaten up, watched as neighbors' houses fell in, watched as the whole rec center and the left wall of the movie theater went, empty air suddenly where solid ground had been. People still go to the movies, if only for the evening showings. Sometimes the lights go out. They get rewired after a couple days, but one poor neighborhood's been on bottled water for 2 years. The school bus commute grew by a half hour last month because part of the route collapsed. Our parents just adapt. And yeah, we like We like stories, but this isn't a gateway to something below. It's just what our parents built, sinking out from under us. What we thought would support us, the world we could depend on, disappearing. Economically, most of the lumber mills have shut down. Allswell's been trying to reinvent itself, but the experiments have been sluggish and unimaginative. Zoning never changes, which gradually creates more problems, plus the housing shortage. Poor families rent on the lip, but many whose dream homes and there haven't left them. Businesses fall in and then don't exist anymore. People talk about the excellent halal restaurant we used to have. What don't we know we're missing? The lip's been slowly creeping across the school's soccer field. Today, the flagpole fall in. You're not supposed to climb down, but the cops just coax you out and drive you home. But can any good come from down there? The pit is a potential metaphor for many things: global warming, a failing economy, systemic disenfranchisement of vulnerable groups, grassroots hate. You don't have to, even shouldn't, figure out which, just play with it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so that is the first of our two options to pick between. Both of them are like a small town where something weird is going on. The second one is The Summer Folk, written by Naomi Clark, which is set in Potter's Neck, New Jersey. The tagline for that one is, "Beach towns come alive in summer, but what if the season never ended?" And I'm wondering if I can get a different volunteer to read the background section for this one.
I'll read it. Potter's Neck used to change with the seasons. In summer, part-timers from big cities would flood down to the Long Barrier Island from the wealthy estates at its north tip to the cheaper rentals to the south. Longer days and sunlight brought crowded beaches, noisy streets, and customers for local businesses always open late. As the autumn rains began, vacationers vanished with the warm weather. Surf shops closed, midway lights went dark, and boat tours dropped anchor. Year-round, residents became the only patrons of the local shops. Italian and Jewish communities who'd grown this town over the buried ashes of Lenape fishing village, joined recently by browner faces who'd immigrated from South and Central Asia to settle in nearby suburbs. On a day none remember, the cycle stopped. For a reason none can tell, it's now and forever summertime in Potter's Neck. Autumn hangs in the future, but never quite arrives. Time seems to pass, but those who leave and come back can't remember what they did outside, or perhaps they never left at all. How long can this go on? We may wish the summer heat would last, but on Potter's Neck, the boats are never repaired, the amusements never closed, and the seeds have no turn to sleep in the earth.
Okay, so these are our two options. Like I said, both are small towns where something kind of weird and ephemeral is going on in the background, but different. So what are people interested in? Which of these two sounds appealing?
The Summer Folk really appeals to me, because I live in Cornwall, so that whole seasonal touristy kind of thing is very much in my milieu. And I don't know as much about the cultures that I brought up in the first one, so I wouldn't really know how to play Quebec-y necessarily. So that would be my vote.
I had the opposite response. The pit, the Allswell really appealed to me. It just, I don't know, something about the metaphor just really clicked. But I'm happy to do either one.
I feel similarly to Saul. I really liked the pit. I'm open to either, but I really enjoy that metaphor. And I think I hear what you're saying about the not really knowing the culture of the Quebec, because I definitely don't. But I think that we can muster through it for sure. But I am
Any other
happy to speak
thoughts?
for either if anybody is like strong against one.
I don't feel too strongly about either of them.
I could go either way, but I'm leaning Summer Folk just because I'm from New Jersey. But that's not a good enough reason, so I go either way.
Do you have one you'd prefer to run, Avery?
I haven't played either of them. They're both written by friends of mine, so I'm partial to both of them. I think that if I were picking, I would lean towards All's Well. So maybe it seems like a lot of people are, there's a bit of preference for one or the other, but people are pretty split. Does that sound right?
Think so.
I'm happy enough to go with All's Well. They both sound good. The Summer Folk appealed more, but I'm happy to go with All's Well.
Awesome, cool. Well, let's do that one. Let's do All's Well, everyone. So we've got this setting. It's a town in northern BC, which is in Canada. I'm from British Columbia. I'm from a small rural town, but I'm not from somewhere up north. But some things I do definitely know are the places are quite geographically isolated. Often towns are small, and it can be a 4 or 5 or 17-hour drive to get to the nearest city or even remotely larger town. Depending how far up north we are, either there are fewer services and things cost a little bit more, or we're talking about like city might cost $4. So depending how remote we are, isolating or just intensely isolating. We've got the background. We've got a list of scene locations. Places around town that I see you player play, which is monster from.
Yeah, sorry, Avery, I can't hear you at the minute.
Thing, which is a reason why I'm interested to play Oswald is just to see how that goes. And so I'm going to read through the list of skins that are included, and then we can talk about which characters people are compelled to play. And so this is a small town of 7,448 people. It's up north. It's probably geographically isolated. It's near a First Nations reserve. I don't know the correct pronunciation of this, but it is near a Smaljacks First Nation reserve. Often reserves are kind of like, there is a white settler-oriented town, and then nearby there is a predominantly native reserve town. The white town will have more resources, more connections to like oil and gas industry, for example, and there will kind of be this tense, like the two towns in some ways are interlinked and in some ways are really segregated. So I'm going to read the list of all the skins to include, and then we can talk about which ones are interesting to people. Ollie, you mentioned not knowing what Québécois was. Are French Canadians. They live on the other side of Canada, and so the fact that there are multiple people who are Québécois, in particular a British Columbian town, must mean that for some reason Québécois groups resettled here, or like French-speaking groups resettled here in particular, and we don't really know why yet. Québécois see themselves as a minority within Canada, but are a white settler minority within a white settler dominated country. And so that's complicated in all sorts of ways. Québécois are often Catholic, or there's like a large Catholic community overlapping with Québécois community. We can playing one of those characters, if it feels right to you, and if it's not historically accurate or not regionally accurate, that's fine. That's in the spirit of this is a game. We're all gonna skins to include. First of all, the native mortal from the reservation is transferring to the school in town. Is that the right choice? And will his cosplay and makeup tutorials on YouTube remain undiscovered? Witch comes from a line of witches, and wishes he would too. His relationship with his mom or his heritage. The Chinese-Canadian werewolf just moved here from Vancouver with their paramedic mom. Will playing music let them channel their emotions to stop from transforming? The Iranian and Scottish-Canadian ghoul stands in the wreckage her grandfather, the mayor, is making. Will the verve and passion she lost with death ever return? The Quebecois Fae is a lover of novels and gardening and was homeschooled up until her dad became ill this year. Will their house topple into the pit? The native queen takes to her bike, spreading word to resist the grown-ups, the monsters who let it get like this. Will her new friends give her the power to enact real change? So, these are the character options. Who's excited to play what?
I'm definitely into the mortal or the werewolf skin here.
I'm definitely into the werewolf.
Okay, I've played a werewolf before, so I haven't done a mortal, so I'm fine with that.
I have not played a werewolf before.
I'm kind of interested in the queen, actually.
Let's see. I am gonna go for the witch. If no one has, no one else wants that one, I will go witch.
So I think I'd like to try the Iranian, Scottish, Canadian ghoul.
Awesome. That was like a super easy back and forth to figure out who's playing what. I've never had that go so smoothly gracefully. So we've all got our characters now. In that folder that I shared with you all prior to play, there's the references sheet, core skins, that includes the player's rule sheet, the MC rule sheet, and then each of the skins, so each of the character types. So I'll let you open that, find yours. There is a bit of flavor text for each of the ones. So like the Fae, right below it says the Fae, there's 2 italicized paragraphs. We're not going to read all of those out loud right now, just in the interest of time and expediency, because we've got a short block. But just take a moment to yourself, read through that italicized text. And if anyone doesn't know what document I'm talking about or isn't following along, just let me know. The next step is we're going to start characters. So it has like 2 sheets, and sheet on the top left, identity. There's a list of names to pick from, a list of looks to pick from, a list of eyes to pick from, and an origin, which is kind of the origin story of how you came to be, the kind of monster you are, or the kind of archetype you are, or just how you came to be here. So for example, if I was playing the ghoul, I would have a list of name choices. I might say that my name was Iggy, that my look was detached, that I had hungry eyes, and then my origin was that I was constructed. So you are going to create, you're going to pick one from each list and record them on the play sheet that we've got. The play sheet is a Google Sheets. It's part of that folder that I gave to you. Yeah, let me know if there's any questions. And otherwise, start making those choices. And as you know, once you've got them, unmute your mic and share with us all your name, look, eyes, and origin.
Shall I do that now?
Yeah, please go for it. If you've got it all figured out and there's a moment of dead air, jump in.
Okay, I am Gerard. I am the witch. My look is meticulous. I think he wears like quite a tailored suit to school, which is kind of like a weird look, but he carries it with kind of like enough confidence that he gets away with it. He has smirking eyes, and he was taught by grandma, which his mum does not like. So his grandma kind of went over her head to teach him the craft.
Awesome.
I am Francis Alexi, as is covered by the small town's skins to include. My origin would be that I am the new kid in town. I look awkward and quiet, and I have sort of doe eyes. I'm just sort of taking all of this in. It's all very new, the pit and all the crazy things that are going on. And I am the mortal. I try to dress just as normally as possible to fit in so that I don't stick out.
Awesome. How about anyone else?
Silas the Ghoul, stiff, look, hungry eyes, and resurrected.
And I'm playing Cassidy the werewolf. I have a wiry look to myself. I have fierce eyes, and my origin is ancestral power. I sense that werewolves run in my family, but kind of skipping generations.
Awesome. And I'm just going to really quickly into the character play sheet copy down everyone's description that they got from their small town, just so I can have it there and I'm not flipping around as much, being like, wait, who is who again?
Okay, I'm Drake, the native queen. I have a domineering look, captivating eyes, and most dangerous. I am female, she, her, but I think the name Drake is maybe a nickname or something like that.
Awesome. And you mentioned your pronouns. Actually, that would be helpful if everyone, for their character, maybe right at the top, in addition to your, or maybe where it says like your skin name, like queen or werewolf or witch, if you could just also right after that put your pronouns, that'd be great. All right, now you've mentioned that a bunch of you have played Monsterhearts before, but Saul, you mentioned that you hadn't, and so I'm going to explain some of the rules of the game as we go. Some of them I'll explain up front. Some of them we'll just encounter them when they're relevant, and you'll be like, "Oh, nobody told me about that." That is how it'll be.
Sure, I have read most of the rules, just so you know. Okay,
awesome. So the basis of this game, I'm the MC, something like a traditional GM role in most aspects. This game is very much about main character interactions. So this isn't probably going to be a game where I'm introducing a villain and you're on an adventure to thwart that villain. It's going to be about your lives, your interactions with one another, your interactions with your other classmates who you go to school with in Allswell. Um, this is like a fiction first game, which means that when it comes time for you to say something, just start from describing what your character is doing, what they're saying. And at some point, you will say something which triggers one of the moves of the game. So you'll be saying something, and then maybe I, as the MC, will be like, "It sounds like you're trying to turn him on, aren't you?" Or you'll be saying something, and you'll be like, "And that's how I'm lashing out physically," which are two of the moves of the game. But really, start from the place of just saying what your character does organically, saying what your character says as it comes to you, and don't worry about whether there's a rule that we should be cramming into the scene. Just start from the fiction. We have the player sheet, which I mentioned before, which has got a list of all of the main core moves of the game that all of you share. So when you turn someone on, roll with hot, and then we follow the rules to see what happens. When you shut someone down, roll with cold. When you keep your cool and act despite fear, name what you're afraid of and roll with cold. So those are three of them. There's lashing out physically, running away, gazing into the abyss. And then there's rules for a few other things as well, healing and skirting death and whatnot. So whenever you trigger a move, if you play any kind of Apocalypse World engine game, it's the same kind of thing. You always grab exactly 2 dice, roll them, add them together along with a stat. So roll with volatile, for example. A 6 or lower is it's an opportunity for me as the MC to steer things in a chaotic or terrible direction. And it generally means you're not getting what you were hoping for out of that interaction. 9 is often a mixed result. Maybe you succeed at your goal, but there's a price to pay. And a 10 or up is generally succeeding and things going well and you having positive choices to make as you move forward into the fiction. Some of the moves reference something called strings. So strings are the emotional power that you have over. There's a whole bunch of ways that someone can gain strings. The one that everyone shares is when you turn someone on, you roll with hot, there's a potential to get strings over people. You're all playing characters who are teenagers. Maybe you're seniors at this high school, and your bodies are raging with hormones, and you're discovering whole new worlds. And so there's a lot of room for people to mess with you as a result, and to leverage those hormones and those new worlds and everything like that for power over you. Different characters also have different ways of gaining strings above and beyond that. The werewolf, for example, is really fierce and dominant and overprotective in romance and all things, and so can gain strings. The physicality, who's not is potentially emotionally abusive and can gain strings kinds of mechanisms. So that's just a bit of a setup for understanding the next thing we do during character creation. That everyone chooses stats and then chooses moves. So on the skin sheet, on the second of the two spreads at the bottom left, there are 2 potential stat lines. And so you pick one or the other. It's either the top row or the bottom row. So for example, if someone is playing the ghoul, they can either choose to be hot, -1, cold 1, volatile 2, dark -1, or they can choose that other stat line about being cold and dark, and the other 2 are at -1. So everyone go ahead and pick your stat line recorded on the play sheet, and then also on your skin, you've got a list of moves you get. So for example, the ghoul, you get the hunger, and you choose 2 more moves. So make all those choices for your character. And then once you've all got them selected, unmute yourself for a minute and let us know what they all are, and you can talk a little bit about how those things play out for you.
So Francis, being the mortal stat lines both have a hot of +2. And Francis has a hot of +2, cold and volatile both -1. So he's not really good at standing up for himself or pushing his weight around. But he has a dark of +1. I think is just his sort of tie to the crazy of the world. The moves that he has, you start with true love. You always have exactly one lover. The first is chosen during your backstory. If you ever fall in love with somebody else, give them a string and they become your new lover. And you always get +1 forward to earning your lover's heart or fancy. And then the moves that I chose for him are sympathy is my weapon. Every time you forgive somebody for hurting you and excuse their base nature, gain a string on them. And excuses are my armor. When you ignore some blatant problem with your lover or how they treat you, mark experience. So Francis is sort of that, what I mentioned about how he's just kind of quiet and trying to keep himself unnoticed. That follows into his mortal moves as well, that he doesn't want to cause waves and he doesn't want to make anything difficult for anybody.
I will go
All
next.
right, who's next?
Cassidy has a +2 hot, a -1 cold, a +1 volatile, and a -1 dark. And for moves, have heightened senses, which when you rely on your animal instincts to make sense of a charged situation, roll with dark. On 10 up, ask MC 3 questions from below and take +1 forward. On 7 or 9, ask 1 question, such as where's my best escape route, or way in, which enemy is the most vulnerable to me, what's their secret weakness, what poses the biggest threat to me, who's in control here. And then the other move that I have is Primal Dominance. When you harm someone, take a string on them.
Silas is -1 hot, +1 cold, +2 volatile, and -1 dark. The moves are the hunger. So Silas hungers for thrills. So when you heedlessly pursue a hunger, add 1 to the rolls. When you ignore a promising feeding opportunity, roll to keep your cool. Short rest for the wicked. When you die, wait it out. A few hours later, you wake up fully healed. And spirit to corpse. When you gaze into the abyss will share with you its hunger. Treat that hunger as your own until you satisfy it, and mark your experience when you do so.
Awesome. So one thing I'm noticing is that you're both a few people are sending glitchy to me, which makes it seem like maybe it's actually my internet connection.
You are glitching out occasionally,
You're definitely on the glitchy side. And we didn't hear that.
Okay, so sounds like I have a faulty connection here. There's not really anything I can do about that where I am, other than hope that it stops being glitchy and faulty.
The other thing that sometimes can work is if you go just to audio, but that is we can decide on that later, I guess. I don't know if it always helps.
In between, you can adjust your bandwidth usage at the top, like where you would mute. There's
that's really true.
Little things that look like cell phone bars. You can dial that down a little bit.
Okay, and so that will make sure that my audio stays as high quality as it can, and my video gets as small as it needs to be. Is that right?
Yeah, there's an audio HD that you can dial down, and you can also disable the video HD.
Okay, so I've set that to low. So we'll see how that goes. Am I still coming across glitchy to people?
No, you sound fine now.
Okay, sweet. Okay, we solved it. Okay, back in. Who has to introduce their character stuff?
I'm happy to do mine now. Gerard has a hot of -1, a cold of +2, there should be a volatile of -1. That's 0 on my sheet currently, but it's -1, and a dark of +1. I figure the sort of the low hot and the quite high cold come from he kind of thinks he's above everyone else. He has got the moves sympathetic tokens, so I gain power from sympathetic tokens, items of personal significance taken from others. Sympathetic tokens count as strings. And I also have hex casting. You can cast hexes. Choose 2 of them that you know. To cast them, either expend a sympathetic token during a secret ritual, or meet the target's gaze and chant at them in tongues. Then roll plus dark. On a 10+, the hex works and can easily be reversed. On a 7 to 9, it works, but choose 1. So the casting do you 1 harm. Casting has a weird side effect, or trigger your darkest self. That I've chosen are Ring of Lies, which is whenever the person attempts to lie, they hear a big piercing ringing noise, and Watching, which is you enter a deep sleep and begin to see the world through the eyes of the hexed.
Awesome. What does it say about Gerard that he has Ring of Lies as a hex he knows?
I think that says that he thinks that people lie a lot. Like he doesn't trust people. He kind of sees like the little petty squabbles in high school going on around himself, and he thinks that he's above them because he thinks he can see through people's lies. I think that's what it says about him. But I think the Watching also makes him he's kind of an outsider because he thinks he's above everyone, and he's kind of a creeper because he's kind of like voyeuristically looking in on all of their squabbles whilst kind of being on the outside of it.
Awesome. Who else has to introduce their character? Are we missing anyone?
Yep, me. So I'm Drake, the Queen. I have, hold on, let me just get back to the sheet. I have a hot of -1, cold of +2, volatile -1, and dark +1. My moves are the click. I'm at the head of the toughest, coolest, most powerful clique around. They count as a gang. Choose one of the following strengths for the gang, and I chose that they're armed with guns and real dangerous stuff. And my other move I chose was bought loyalty. So I can give a side character a string on me to tempt them to do my bidding. The MC will tell me what sort of bribe, threat, or coaxing it'll take to get that character to do what you want right now.
Awesome. And so they're armed, and I noticed that your description had you having a bike. Are you guys like a legit motorcycle gang?
I was actually thinking that we were on bicycles.
Awesome.
But we're like the kids' version of a motorcycle gang. We can't afford motorbikes. And maybe we're from, you were saying there's a like a native settlement nearby or something. So I think we live there, and we kind of ride out to the white town and, you know, cause trouble or, you know, sort people out.
Do people know you're armed? Like, do you all have like a scary reputation around town?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. Out of the other player characters, who here is like afraid of Drake?
Oh yeah, I think Drake is everything I don't want to be involved with. That's terrifying.
And sorry, you're the mortal, so you're the other native character who are playing here. Do you are there other native kids in the school who you are close with, or is it kind of like it's you and it's Drake and it's her people, and you're kind of like alone? Like who are the other kids here?
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if there aren't a lot of other native kids here. Part of my description mentions the is that the right choice moving here, basically. So I think that we're not heavily represented at the school or in the town even, and so there's probably a fair amount of racism and discrimination that happens. I'm just thinking of a local town nearby that's roughly the same size near where I live. And so I think that the fact that Drake is also a native and is has accrued this sort of power, I think that's terrifying to me, because it's the opposite of not standing out.
Yeah, I think I look down on you for trying to fit in here.
Do you think maybe you tried to like get me to hang out with you when I first got here? You were like, "Oh, hey, it's another native."
Well, I don't know. I think actually I don't live in the town. I ride over from the reservation. So even you moving into this part of town is, I see as kind of a betrayal.
Interesting. I like that.
Awesome. So I've asked some kind of like provocative questions of a few of you and not the other ones, but we're gonna keep moving forward on doing setup, and trust me, I'll come around and I'll be asking you all to make difficult compromises and choices as we go. We've all got our moves and our stats picked out, and so the next thing we're gonna do is establishing backstory. And so the way that establishing backstory works is each person has on their skin sheet, on the second page of it, in kind of left middle, there's a section that says your backstory. And so basically that gives people starting strings and implies some starting relationships, so that the moment we start play, there's already lopsided power imbalances and unrequited romances and all that stuff. So going in the order of how the characters are listed in the play sheet, or sorry, no, there's a mortal, isn't there?
Yeah, I need to go last.
So the mortal always goes last. So in that case, we're going to go Gerard, Drake, Cassidy, Silas, and Francis. So Gerard, what's your setup?
Okay, so I start the game with 2 sympathetic tokens, and I decide whose they are and what they are. So I think I have one from Cassidy, and Cassidy, you're into music, aren't you? So what sort of music do you play? I was thinking maybe I could have like a guitar plectrum, that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that could work. I'm definitely thinking like punk. So yeah, sure.
Okay. I think maybe you threw it out at the end of a gig, and I was the guy that caught it, and I've kind of kept it thereafter.
Nice.
And it was an unusually rock and roll thing for me to do, and it's not because I wanted it for the rock and roll. I just wanted it to have it. And I think I have also something from Dylan. Can you tell me a little bit more about Silas? Sorry. So he is.
So yeah, Silas is the Iranian Scottish Canadian ghoul, and my grandfather is the mayor.
Oh, okay. What sort of books does he read?
He reads a lot of history, Canadian history books.
Okay, I have stolen one of those Canadian history books from you.
Okay.
And I want to jump in and ask a question about Silas there. Do you read like historical fiction and stuff like that? Or are you meaning like you have like big, heavy tomes that like people like normally would turn their noses up about, like real history like volumes?
Yeah, real history volumes, and like collector stuff too.
Okay, so I have this ridiculously heavy book that I stole from you that is just in my backpack. And the other thing that I have is that one of the others has caught you rummaging through their friend's stuff but hasn't said anything. They gain a string on you, and that is going to be... So Francis, yeah, you caught me. You caught me going through Silas's bag and stealing his history book, and you haven't said anything, so you get a string on me.
Awesome. Who's up next?
Yeah, I think it's me, right? Name 3 side characters who are members of your gang. Gain a string on each. I'm still looking for some names for those, but I'm thinking maybe we all have sort of nicknames rather than using our real names. So I'll come up with those in the next few minutes. The other thing is you find someone threatening, give them a string on you and take a string on them. And I'm thinking about this. Man. I think maybe it's probably got to be Cassidy. Yeah, I'll say Cassidy.
Cool.
So we both get a string on each other.
Okay, so you are this like local legend. You ride around with a gang and you carry weapons. You are someone who scares almost everyone. Why does Cassidy scare you?
Cassidy's the one who's the musician, is that right?
Yep. Chinese Canadian musician.
Okay. I don't know. It's kind of like a rivalry. We're both rebels. We're both trying to change things, but maybe we get in each other's way. And why does she?
I mean, does she know that Cassidy's a werewolf?
Cassidy, I think.
I don't know.
I think either I know or I at least have some sense that she's very dangerous, just from the way she behaves, the way she looks.
I mean, maybe I like I don't know, beat someone up who you knew, or
maybe
or beat
someone in my
gang,
gang
and that kind of spooked you.
Maybe
And
some of my gang.
I'm kind of newish as well, so probably you don't know much about me, so that probably throws you off a little bit too.
Yeah, maybe I had some of my gang come and try and sort of rough you up and put you in your place, and you fought back.
Sounds good.
Cool.
And sorry, what was the name of that gang member?
Let's think. Let's go with Rabbit.
Rabbit. Okay. So Cassidy, you, Rabbit and a few others rolled up on you, maybe being rough with you, trying to make it clear that there's already an established order in town and you're not getting anywhere in it. And then you push back. Probably you didn't mean to hospitalize Rabbit. And so I'm just wondering exactly what did you do?
I think I'm sensing like I probably pushed Rabbit kind of up against some kind of some sort of railing or something like that. And I think I probably pushed her so hard and kind of like that basically that the rail kind of caught her in the back and kind of maybe even kind of broke her back a little bit. Like not paralyzed her, but like she totally crumpled and now has to be in, I don't know, traction for multiple weeks or something like that.
Yikes. Okay. So for Drake,
sounds good.
you have to pick two members of your gang, and you have to, and you get a string on each, I think it is. Do you have the names of those gang members yet?
It says 3, I think. Yeah, so one's Rabbit. The other 2, I don't have yet. I'll get them just in a minute. If we're going to do someone else, maybe, and then come back.
Okay, do you want me to toss out names for gang members, or do you just want to take a second to think about it and make sure they're just right?
Just give me a second. Yeah, I won't be long.
Sounds good. Cassidy, what is your backstory?
Cassie's backstory. Cassie's backstory is You lack subtlety. Give a string to everyone. So everybody take a string on Cassidy. Wah, wah. And you've spent weeks watching someone from a distance. Their scent and mannerisms are unmistakable to you. Gain 2 strings on them. And I think it would make sense for that to be Gerard, because I probably saw you catch and take my my pick. So I have 2 strings on you.
And I think maybe that didn't strike you as odd to start with, but then because I've been casting hexes on you, I've been knowing stuff about you that I shouldn't, and hence you've been starting watching me.
Sounds good.
And I'll just mention for recording strings. So Saul, and everyone, but when you record strings, write down the name of the person you have the string on. Write down, 1 string, and later erase that in 2, and later, keep erasing the number. But you don't need to keep track of why you have a string on somebody. Where the emotional power came from in the first place becomes irrelevant, because later on it's just like, wow, this person seems to have power over me. I get shaky in the knees when they come around. Find myself obeying when they give commands. I try to fight back against them, and I feel weak. And so, there ends up being a disconnection between where the power comes from and what the power gets used for, and that's okay.
Cool. All right.
Can I ask, with the sympathetic tokens counting as strings, does that mean that when I use them as a string, I don't have the sympathetic token anymore?
No, you probably still have the token, but it has lost whatever power it had for you for witchcraft purposes, right? So you
okay, so I can't use it to cast a hex.
And it basically, the fact that you took this thing from the person means you have a sympathetic token, and it also kind of counts as a string if you want to use it that way.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, but typically you will still have the physical object until someone takes it from you. But it's the difference between being like, I have the sweater of the person I slept with, which still smells like them, which has like some kind of power and some kind of like weird eldritch connection to them. It's the difference between that and I have a dirty sweater. So I think we are on now Silas. Silas, what's your backstory?
Okay, so someone reminds me of what love was when I thought that death had stolen it away from me forever. And that's Drake.
How did Drake remind you what love was?
Give them a string. I think just because of like my hunger for thrills and stuff, that to me, that's I'm kind of feeling like there's a love connection or whatever, just in the whole bicycle gang thing. I haven't felt anything like that since I've died.
So that's me having a string on you?
You have a string.
Is that what you said?
Give Drake a string. Did anyone watch you die? If so, you gain 2 strings on each other. Francis.
I like it. So I've seen you die, and I've seen the witch steal the book.
Francis, how does it feel to be the keeper of so many secrets?
Feels normal. I'm used to it. I keep my my YouTube tutorials secret. I keep a lot of who I am secret. It's just sort of part and parcel. I think that deep down inside, I like it and I get a rush off of it, but I would never admit that even to myself.
And Silas, sorry if you already mentioned this, but how did you die?
I was hit by a large truck, like a semi.
And Francis, you saw that happen. What happened to the body?
Gosh, I
like, did you drag this person off into the bush and then they came to? Did you watch it just get up and walk away?
I think I like, if it's okay with you, Silas, I think that yeah, I saw the accident, and do you think the trucker just like sped off and went away?
Sure, yeah, that's cool.
And so I ran over to the body, and I like, checked your pulse and everything, but you got hit by a semi truck. There was no chance. And I think that I like this sort of mental idea that I like ran to the road to call the 911. And, I ran to the road so I could get reception because I couldn't, wherever we were. And after I called 911, I ran back to the body, and it just wasn't there. And then I just like saw you in school, and I was like, what?
I like it.
Awesome. And now we are on to the mortal's backstory.
I have been leaning towards Gerard the witch. I'm sorry. Let me start that conversation without in the middle. So choose one person to be your lover, give them 3 strings on you, and take 1 string on them. There is no need for an actual relationship or any reciprocated feelings at all. It's just how the mortal views the other person. And I think that after I saw you take that book, I think maybe I started watching you a little bit and trying to figure out why you were acting the way that you were. And I just sort of, maybe tried to strike up conversation and be friends too. But I think that I have just sort of slowly started obsessing over you.
Okay. Yeah. So I think, because you saw me stealing that, and then neither of us told on each other, basically, that you kind of think that we're best friends. I'm kind of like or not best friends, but you're kind of crushing on me, and I'm a kind of a little bit bemused by that, but B, you're hot, so I'm happy to have you around and obsess over me a little.
That works.
So I'm just kind of trailing you on a little at the minute.
So you get 3 strings on me, and I get 1 string on you.
Okay, I want to ask a question of both Francis and Gerard here. So Francis, you do makeup tutorials in secret. You are crushing on a boy right now. Does your character like identify as gay? Is that a thing? Are you in a weird label-less place? Are you?
I think that to go along with the small town and being one of the only natives and stuff, I think that I'm label-less. Definitely, if anybody were to ask or whatever, I there's like a few girls in town, or a few girls that go to school that are widely accepted to be attractive. And if anybody were to talk to me about it, I would be like, oh yeah, Hannah, she's totally hot. And so, and I don't think that I think, again, to go along with the not admitting the rush that I get from like having any sort of mental power over anybody. I also don't think that I would admit to myself, like, I guess I'm sort of kind of aware that I have these feelings, and it's not that I'm ashamed of them per se. It's just that it's not worth the hassle. I'd rather just not date anybody than make a big deal about things.
Awesome. And Gerard, I heard that you know about Francis's feelings for you. Is that right?
Yeah. Is that okay? Francis, is that okay with you?
Yeah, for sure. I like it.
Cool.
With the caveat that I think that maybe Francis thinks he's hiding it better than he is. So maybe he doesn't know.
Yeah, nice.
Gerard, there's this other boy who goes to your school who's clearly into you, like in that way. How do you feel about that?
I think I think Gerard is I think he likes the power over it. But I think he also, I don't think he's out, but I do think he identifies as gay. but I also think he's a virgin at this point. So I think he's. I think there's always been those rumors about him. Like people kind of know he's gay, even though that's never been said by anyone. But it's one of those things that it sort of doesn't need to be said. And he's not. Yeah, and I think he's enjoying the attention from this new kid.
Awesome. Okay, we've established everyone's backstories. The next thing we're going to do is establish who sits where in the homeroom of your class. So maybe this is like the first period class at school, or like the history class, or whatever. One of you is a history buff. So let's say this is your history class. So we've got the play sheet. The other form that we've got in that Google Doc or Google Drive folder I shared with you is called homeroom chart. And so we're going to toggle over to that right now. And as you can see, I've kind of filled in like 2 templating things. So minor characters, we're going to write in Arial's 10 in different seats, and just kind of like a 4x4 classroom grid there, which 16 kids in a high school classroom is probably the most fantastical part of Monsterhearts, I know, but in a really rural, isolated town, it actually starts to make more sense that there's potentially just that few desks, because maybe we're dealing with like a pretty small place, and so we're going to go around and put characters in chairs. So the first thing I want to do is ask, since Drake has multiple gang members who are in this classroom, and Drake is like clearly popular and intimidating, Drake, you get first pick. Where do you sit in this grid, and where do Maggot and Wings sit? Oh, you're muted still. I can't hear you.
Which is the front of the room, sorry?
So let's say the front of the room is where that word homeroom is. That's where the teacher's desk is and the chalkboard is.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, look, I think all 3 of us sit in the back row. So I'm going to be in the bottom left-hand corner.
Awesome.
And then the other 2 just across from there. And I guess we used to have the whole back row until Rabbit got hospitalized.
Okay, so that means the far side there is Rabbit's desk, hospitalized by Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go ahead and type in Wings and Maggot.
Yep.
And so I'm gathering, based on the fact that your gang members so far are named Drake, Rabbit, Maggot, and Wings, that these probably aren't their birth names or their government names.
Correct.
But I'm wondering, how much sway do you have? Like, do the other kids at school all call these kids Maggot and Rabbit and stuff like that?
Assuming that I get my way, then yes.
What about the teachers and the principal?
The teachers probably don't know.
Okay. So let's also then name what are their, or yeah, we won't worry. For the sake of simplicity, I'll just always call them Wings or Maggot, and we know that if I'm speaking as an adult, that it's actually Jeffrey or whatever the case might be.
Okay, I mean, assuming they're all native kids, so I'm not sure what kind of names they would have, like whether they'd have Western names or.
I actually looked up a list
additional names.
of native names when I was trying to think of Francis's name, and I looked up the specific tribe that it mentions, and every single list I ever found, they just kind of had names. There was no real specific.
So it's all anglicized names.
Yeah, from what I noticed.
Okay.
So Drake, I've got a question for you about wings. Wings that sits the closest to you. What are wings pronouns?
Wings is he, him.
Okay. Is Wings your favorite?
I think now that Rabbit's not around, yes, Rabbit used to be sort of my lieutenant.
Awesome. So Wings is the new favorite. And I wanted to ask a question of let's see, of Gerard. What is it about Wings that is just so annoying?
It is the way they don't spend any time on their hair at all. They've got this really lovely hair that could be fantastic, and they just spend no time on it at all. And it's a shame, and it just kind of it hurts me just a little that they could be so much better looking than they are.
I have the perfect tutorial for that.
All right, so I'm writing down for Wings the new favorite and long tangled hair.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'll also write so much potential. And so now some questions about Maggot. And so my first question is for Cassidy here. So the two who really kind of stepped to you and were roughing you up and picking a fight were Rabbit and Maggot, and you shoved one and hospitalized one of them. Why did you choose to spare Maggot?
Why did I choose to spare Maggot? I think Maggot was the one who
Can I suggest something?
Please go for it.
Maybe when you shoved Rabbit, you felt the change coming over you, and maybe you kind of backed off so that you didn't go full wolf and actually kill someone.
Okay, but how does that? Oh, I see what you mean. So I didn't go after the second person because I knew it would.
So that you could contain yourself.
That's interesting.
Could have just been that Rabbit was the one in the lead, so Rabbit got the brunt of your attack.
I'm betting Rabbit was probably the one who laid hands on me first, and so I probably just kind of reacted really quickly and probably just was kind of overwhelmed with what happened. And I think I probably saw Maggot just kind of standing there stunned, and I just kind of bailed just because I was like,
yeah,
I don't even want to be here because something bad just happened.
What if Maggot smiled a little bit and that's why you spared Maggot?
I've got a suggestion. Maggot, I think Maggot's maybe not really such a fighter as the rest of the gang. Maggot's sort of a thinker or a manipulator.
Could be.
So he doesn't tend to get in the front line if there's some physical altercation going.
I think that lines up with the smile thing too.
Yeah, sure.
And so you were saying that it seemed like Maggot just stood there stunned, but I think I'm going to interject a little bit.
Sure.
What actually happened is that Maggot stood there watching this flicker in your fierce eyes, seeing those hints at your ancestral power kind of coursing through your veins. You didn't transform into a werewolf, but there was a moment where that thick canine pheromone smell started to kind of radiate through the air, and that look was less like being stunned, and more like being just intensely, confusingly aroused. And I think that Maggot's other detail that I'm going to write on this homeroom sheet is that Maggot is now super thirsty for Cassidy.
Sounds good.
All right.
Cool.
Going up next in the homeroom sheet, just with character names. I'm gonna can jump back and forth between filling in random NPC names and then going back to placing you all in the room. So John Paul sits front and center in the classroom. I haven't asked a lot of questions of Silas yet, so I want to ask this about Silas. Silas, what about John Paul or John Paul's life are you so jealous of?
I think John Paul travels a lot, and and maybe it's even like historically related stuff. Like he gets to visit the historical places.
Mm-hmm. So he's like a world traveler.
Yeah, world traveler's good.
A famous author for a dad.
Oh yeah.
Which of you has just like a major vengeful streak when it comes to John Paul? Which one of you really wants payback?
I think that might be me.
Why?
If that's okay. I think he bullied me when we were little kids, and I don't think he even really remembers it anymore. I think he's kind of matured out of that, but I really hold a grudge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he kind of, he singled me out very early on, and was just, you know how when you're bullied when you're a little kid, there's not that much physical violence because there can't be really, because you're little tiny kids. But he was always, I found him very threatening, so I still hold a grudge now.
And why you? Why did he target you, and how did he target you?
I didn't really know what was going on at the time. I kind of put it down to I was doing quite well in class. As I got older and kind of came to terms with my sexuality, I think he maybe in some way sensed that I was different. So he kind of saw that in me, and it was just kind of like a pack mentality thing that he wanted to pick on the kid who was different.
Mm-hmm. I think that his mom is really, really cruel, and is kind of always keeping track of who she hates and who everyone else should hate, and is always talking about it at home. And so Jean Paul almost feels this sense that, like, in order to earn his mother's esteem, he has to be replicating that behavior. And so he's just always looking for like who should I hate, who should I hurt, because that's what you're supposed to do, and it's what competent people do. That's his idea. So I'm gonna write down cruel mom.
That's the saddest thing.
So we've got a few NPCs here, and now we're going to place someone else in the classroom. We've already placed Drake. So out of the remaining 4 characters, which of you is the most popular? Anyone can just go ahead and say it's me. I'm the most popular.
I don't think it's me, because I think I have kind of like a slightly douchey reputation for everyone else. I think it might be the new kid, just because he's new, and just this sort of mystique that comes with that. How does that feel?
Yeah, I think that he might hate it, but I like that.
Cool. So Francis, where do you sit?
So I was thinking that I got sat in the second to last row, in a misguided attempt to ease my transition by putting me with the other native kids.
Awesome. So yeah, go ahead and enter yourself somewhere on there. Francis, sitting right in front of you is Carly. And I just want to know, why are you especially afraid to tell her anything or answer any of her questions?
Because she sees the way that I look at Gerard, and I just don't know her well enough to know what she would do with that information. So I am very scared that she's going to make things difficult for me.
Okay, so I'm just going to put excellent gaydar. No too much. No. From someone else. So from Saul's perspective, why is someone like Carly to be feared? What would she? What access to power does she have, and or why might she be vindictive?
So what do we know about her so far? She's
just that she seems to know that these two boys are into each other, or that Francis has a crush on Gerard. That's all we really know.
Okay. So what kind of threat is she to me, is the question?
Or rather, just why in general would people have something to fear from Carly, or why might she be a vindictive person?
Maybe she just keeps on falling for gay guys. And it's really pissing her off.
I was just going to say that, if she has all she knows all these things, that's a threat to ability to manipulate and order people around.
So she knows a lot of secrets, and then she's always trying to get power over people. She's power hungry, maybe. Sitting to the left of Francis is Riley. And anyone can answer this question. What makes Riley beautiful?
Riley's makeup is always on point. Oh, it's a he. That's okay.
Okay, so we've got a boy who comes to school wearing makeup and wearing immaculate makeup. I'm imagining just very, very preening, metrosexual kind of makeup, but just takes his looks very seriously, threads his eyebrows, styles his hair, but potentially still straight. We don't really know. Francis, I want to know. You're coming in here and you've got this deep, dark secret, which is that you do makeup stuff, and then sitting right next to you is just this beautiful boy who doesn't care that other people know that he contours a little bit. How does that make you feel?
I'm jealous that he has the confidence to just be. I have no idea how he does it. Doesn't make any sense to me, because he certainly puts up with at least some bullying, and he just kind of rolls off his back, and I don't get it.
Okay, so he's got beautiful makeup, and generally just a great eye, good execution, but there's one specific thing about his makeup that's always a little busted. What is it?
his eyelashes, maybe.
Yeah.
He goes a little bit too much on him.
Yeah. Riley plays a sport. Can someone tell me, someone who's on the team with Riley, tell me what sport it is?
Curling. No, basketball.
Basketball? Okay.
Basketball.
Okay. And so Silas, you're on the basketball team as well, hey?
Yes.
Where do you sit in the classroom? Why don't we sit you next?
I think I sit in the other front center seat.
Awesome. So you sit next to Jean-Paul, and on your other side, what's the name of the person who sits to your right?
Cindy.
Gerard, why do you hate Cindy?
I find her really shallow. She is very much in that kind of that Regina George Mean Girls kind of hold, and I find I think I just find her really shallow.
Cassidy, what makes Cindy a good person?
I have seen her like comforting friends of hers, like let's say one of her friends, like their father just died or something like that, and I saw her kind of like helping her work through that.
Are you friends with her?
I'd say we're kind of lukewarm. I think because I'm new, I'm not exactly friends with her, but I think it's something that could happen.
And it could happen, but Cindy has this like kind of hazing ritual that she puts people through before they're able to be your friend. And can someone tell me what that is?
I think you have to shoplift something to the value of $20.
Awesome. Over in the chat panel, I see that there's a suggestion that maybe Riley, the boy who wears makeup, secretly watches Francis's makeup tutorials. And I want to ask Francis, how do you feel about that idea?
I like that. I had considered that as well. And
Perfect.
I think that would be interesting. And I think it's something that maybe he like tried to bring up to me when I first got to the school. Like he had already seen them before I ever got to the school. And he tried to bring it up to me and I was just like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Freak. And I was like, no, not at all. Not me. I mean, it's clearly me, like clear, plain as day, but I just treat it like he's crazy.
Awesome. Actually, if it's okay, once we fill out the homeroom chart, I would love to just start that as the initial scene as people are filtering into the classroom.
Okay.
So you can see how that plays out. First, I want to know, Gerard, where do you sit?
I sit just to the right of Carly.
Awesome. Why do you choose to sit next to Carly?
I think because she has excellent taste in music, and on the occasions where the lesson is really boring, we kind of sneak one pair of headphones between the two of us.
Oh, super jealous of Carly.
Awesome. And okay, so we got Gerard right there. And to the right of Gerard is Ami. And I'm wondering, what is Ami's weird hobby? Will someone answer that?
Role-playing games.
Awesome.
Going meta.
I was about to
right.
say she paints miniatures, but maybe both. Just a nerd in general.
I was just going to go with the easy one, taxidermy.
Her dad is a taxidermist, and he used to have. There's a very large hunting lodge kind of culture in this area. There's really great elk hunting, bear hunting, and a few other things. And so people will travel from far distances to stay in the hotels and then kind of make out like hunting treks and things like that. And so taxidermy is actually like a really thriving business in. Her dad used to have a taxidermy studio and office, and so that was where all of these kind of grotesque bear statues and the like were all on display. But because real estate is now scarce because everything keeps falling into the pit, now her house is just full. Like every single room has at least one stuffed animal. There's a room where there are just like multiple large animals kind of looming menacingly around her dining room table. She's got a house of stuffed animals, and it's chilling to be there, which is complicated because her house is one of the only houses where her parents will actually let her throw parties, drinking parties and kissing parties. So that's the deal. That's the deal if you're going to party in Allswell. I want to know, we have one more person who we have left to seat. Cassidy, where do you sit?
I would say probably either near a window or a door.
Awesome. Let's say the door is to the right of the classroom, and the window is to the left.
All right, then to the left.
Great. Are you front row or are you that middle row?
I'm going to say middle row.
Awesome. What are Cassidy's pronouns? They're she or they. Okay. The person who used to sit up in front of Cassidy was someone named Todrick. And I just want to know if someone could tell me how recently how many days ago did Todrick die?
I think it's like a week ago, so that we're just coming up to the memorial that they've arranged for him.
And someone else, can you tell me why or how did Todrick die?
I was thinking he fell down a pit, right?
Yeah,
Town's falling apart.
fell into the pit.
I'm not sure if have they recovered the body or not. Maybe they haven't even been able to get it.
Yeah, I think they recovered most of the body, and they're kind of like there's discussion about whether people are going to go searching for Todrick's leg and how did it get severed in the first place. But like all things with the pit, there's just this desire to not really talk about it or focus on it, and so people are, people will bring it up and be like, shouldn't we be, sending a team down there or something? And the discussion will get changed. Just awkwardly, they will stop talking about it. And a question for someone else: why maybe Shane, why do some people not want there to be a memorial for Todrick at all? Why do some people not really want to have a thing focused on Todrick?
I think Todrick probably fell in kind of I feel like there are people present when it happened who should have like stopped it. Like maybe the cops were there, or like people in power or something like that, and like they didn't notice it or something like that. And there's this kind of this weird discomfort about like a lot of the society seems to be saying like, why didn't you do something? And the other part is like, whatever, but not. How about that local sports team?
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, we could also go with maybe he's native, and we can go kind of the
Yeah, I was
less
thinking the same
important thing.
Yeah. Okay.
because
So
this feels like a cause that I would get behind.
I think that this that maybe the important authority figure person who didn't do enough and could have saved Todrick's life was Silas's grandfather, the mayor. Silas, what is your grandfather's name?
Patrick Duncan.
Cool. Yeah, I think, and anyone can X card this if it seems bleak or not okay. Todrick was drunk, was making a scene. Patrick was there, and wasn't the only person who was there. And Todrick's death was Todrick was standing at the edge of the pit, screaming like, "I'm gonna jump! I'm gonna jump!" Patrick could have tried to do something more than just threaten to call the police and then call the police and then stand on, but that's what happened. Todrick didn't actually jump. Todrick slipped on some crumbling rock, or the pit just kind of kept crumbling, and so Todrick fell. Todrick was threatening to fall, but then fell in by accident. And Silas, your grandfather, Patrick, was there and could have done more. At least that's what some people argue. How does that feel for everyone? Great, we've got 2 more names on the homeroom, but I think we've got enough to start. So I'm going to fill in some names, and we'll figure more about them right now. They're both named Tony. There's Boy Tony and Girl Tony, and people refer to them as Boy Tony and Girl Tony to differentiate them, and they both hate it.
Can they be dating each other?
What's that?
Can they be dating each other? Like the couple? Prom king and prom queen?
Yes, Tony and Tony, who are dating each other, who people refer to as Boy Tony and Girl Tony, but they don't want them to do that. They prefer Tony with a Y and Tony with an I, but you can't get what you want all the time. Okay, we've got our homeroom. We've got some starting situations worth exploring. We've got all of our character setup done. We've done our backstory, which has given us some initial strings on one another. We are ready to jump in and play. This took a bit longer than I had hoped. I think that's probably just because I am sick, and so maybe I'm not as fluid as facilitator as I might be otherwise. But since we're here right now, I think that probably the best thing to do is to take a 3-minute get up, stretch, go to the bathroom, get water break, and then we'll sit down and we will dive in for real. All right. Okay. I'm just wondering if everyone is all ready. So in the group chat, if you're ready, just type the word ready. Awesome. Okay, so we are all here. We are all present. We are all ready to dive back in. So we've got our initial homeroom set up, which we're gonna set our first scene as people are filtering into history class, which is the first class of the day. We know that right after lunch, school is like regular classes are suspended because everyone is gathering in the gym for a school memorial assembly for Todrick. Because of some contentious feelings from the community in general about Patrick's handling of the whole situation. It was agreed that the school memorial would also serve as like the community's memorial as a whole. And so there's going to be basically a gym memorial service for the whole town. But for right now, we're just starting with history class. People are filing in, and maybe actually previously Riley sat in a different place in the classroom, but got someone to switch with him so that he could sit next to Francis. And Francis is maybe you and Riley are there a little bit before a bunch of the people. There's only like 5 or 6 people in the classroom so far. People are filtering in, and Riley leans in a little bit, runs his fingers through just like a really gorgeous haircut. Looks up at you and bats just slightly too thickly applied mascara eyelashes at you and says, "Hey, I recognize you."
Oh yeah. How? Who?
Like, I mean, I've seen you around town since you got here. Obviously, it's a small place, but no, like from before that, like I recognize you.
I don't know, man. Maybe just one of those faces, I guess.
And he like leans slightly farther in and smiles eagerly, and he's like I know, like you're like, you know, you live out on the reserve and stuff. Like I know you've come into town like here and there, but come on, right? I recognize you, right?
I don't know what you're talking about, Riley.
And what's your YouTuber name?
Doe Eyes.
Doe Eyes. And he like he smiles and he's like, Doe Eyes, and then looks at you expectantly.
Does that sound like a compliment or something, Riley? I don't follow.
No, come on. You're shitting me. No, you are, right?
Look, Riley, I don't know who you think I am, but it's a really busy week and I'm dealing with a lot right now, and you think that I'm someone else, and I'm sorry that you are so confused, but no, it's not. I'm not Doe Eyes. I'm not whoever you think I am. Just bug off, all right, man? Just leave me alone.
Okay, well, you watch the smile like slowly fall, and he like blushes a little bit. It sounds like you're shutting him down like right away.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
not great at it, but we'll try.
Cool. So what is your cold stat?
My cold is -1.
Okay. So if you however you want to roll dice, if you've got a dice app that you prefer, if you've got 2 6-siders on your desk, whatever.
I've got that roll for your party group open.
Awesome. So yeah, roll that and let us know what you get.
I got an 8.
Cool. So on a 7 and 9, choose one from below. But you come across poorly, and they give you a condition in return. So which of those options do you choose on that list?
I want to gain a string on him.
Awesome. And how does that make sense? How do you rationalize gaining a string on?
For once, I made, it's not that this is my intention, but I made somebody else feel like they were the weird one, and it's kind of a nice reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll sort of let me hold that over him, even if I am not doing it, even if I'm not doing it on purpose.
And I think that the condition that he gives you in return, like other people are filtering into the classroom, they can see Riley. Like Riley is likable. People don't see others just like act shitty to Riley very often, and so we see Riley really opening up to you, smiling eagerly, leaning in, and you are just being icy. So that's the condition that you get.
I'm not a fan of that. Like, I definitely, like, I went farther than I intended, and I didn't mean to make him feel sad, and now I'm just, like, quiet and sort of huffy at my desk.
Awesome. People are filtering in. Cassidy, you sit right in front of Riley, and I'm wondering, do you like him?
Do I like Riley? Yeah, I think I like. I mean, I think I probably dig that Riley totally is has like a aesthetic with regards to his looks, because I think I definitely kind of probably lean into the punk thing, and so like I definitely like that Riley really wants to have a look, and that's Riley's thing, and so yeah, I like Riley.
Awesome. Drake, you are filtering into the classroom. You've got Maggot and Wings maybe like following right behind you, which is pretty common. And the two of them are arguing about something. Wings, let's see. Actually, Maggot is saying like it doesn't matter that they've got good intentions. Like one of our community members died, and they are holding a memorial. And they think that they have the right to hold a memorial for us, like in his honor. How can it be in his honor? Like it's the fucking mayor's fault that he's dead now. And Wings is like replying like, yeah, but they're having a memorial, so we show up because that's what you do. Like, it wouldn't be respectful to boycott our dead friend's memorial, would it? And they're kind of bickering back and forth. What do you do?
I guess I'm going to interject. And I'm going to say, of course we go, but it's really for appearance's sake. They shouldn't even be having the memorial here in town. He's one of us. It should be back at the reservation. None of these people really cared about him. So we will go. We're not going to boycott it, but we're not going to speak, and we're going to sort of we're going to make it knowing that we're not really happy to be there a little bit.
And Maggot says, I think we should speak, though. I mean, this is just hand-wringing settler colonial apologist bullshit. Like, we should do a demo.
What did you have in mind?
I mean, I don't know. Like, we should take the microphone. We should take down his
Do
picture.
you think
We should shut the whole thing down. We should start a fire, maybe. Like, who knows?
is the mayor? Do we know if the mayor's going to be there?
I don't think there's been any mention of it specifically, but it is like the whole town is invited, and people will probably talk about him being there or not either way.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we're better off not making a show at the memorial because I don't know. It's not for them. It's why do we care what they say? Well, I think the ones responsible are the mayor and the police. So I think if the mayor shows up, we follow him when he leaves and try and run him off the road or something. And if he doesn't, then maybe we go and pelt his house with stones or something.
So I've been sitting here like listening to this whole thing and just kind of nodding, like, I respect what you're talking about, native pride. And I've actually been considering turning around and being like, well, I don't know, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then you're just like, oh, and then we follow him and we just run his car off the road. And I'm just like, oh God.
But I don't think we do it at the memorial because that does seem disrespectful.
Alexis, I want to know more about your, Francis, I want to know more about your feelings about that. It seems like you're about to turn around in your seat, and then all of a sudden they like really just jump the shark on this one. And tell me more about what's going through your head.
I think almost going against character. I was going to try to involve myself because I think that the native pride and the even though I don't feel as strongly the whole colonialist bullshit, I was getting behind that. And I think that's really important, especially in a small town with so few of us. But then I think it was almost like the universe was like, hey, don't you remember why you're scared of these people? And that's when Drake was like, let's run his fucking car off the road. And I was like, oh. Okay, this is why we don't get involved with them. But I still like, I'm still listening. I'm still interested. I'm still like, I want to know what they're thinking about.
Okay, Silas, you're one of the last to get to the homeroom. Are you before your death, were you outgoing and social and all those kinds of things, or were you like a pretty quiet kid?
No, I think I was totally outgoing and social before my death.
And what are you like now?
I'm a little bit more reserved, but given like in certain opportunities, I kind of spring into life, and especially like when I'm trying to satisfy my hunger, my thrill hunger.
What's your relationship with Cindy like? She sits next to you.
We kind of get along. She doesn't really. She's not mean to me, and we tolerate each other. Would be the way to phrase it. We're very superficial to each other, I think.
Okay, I'm formulating a plan here for Cindy's angle, but I want to know a little bit more. I feel like I don't know enough about you yet, and so I want to know what are you into? What are your hobbies?
I like history, and I like danger, but I'm kind of disappointed. Like, I like to seek like the thrill seeking, but kind of disappointed that I can't experience that like near death, death defying thing. So I'm just constantly looking for a way to get a thrill that actually thrills me.
Can I suggest a little something?
Yeah,
here?
absolutely.
Just that at the time that you died, you were playing chicken. That you were standing there and you were planning on getting out of the way at the just the right moment, and then something distracted you, and that's where you got hit.
Yeah, that's totally cool. I would totally do that.
Can I throw something else out? You were playing chicken, planning on getting out of the way, and right when you were about to jump, I ran up and I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?"
Oh yeah, like that's what distracted me. I'm trying to time it and everything like that, and you're like, "No, there's a truck coming."
I was like, "Silas, get out of the way!" And you were like, "Wait, what?" And then
who was the other person you were playing chicken with?
The semi truck.
Okay, so you're just like on the highway alone, staring down trucks for your own personal amusement.
Yeah, it's like kind of like how close can it get? Like, you know, because they come around the corner and when they come around the curve, there's like it was something in the road. There's like no way to stop. So it's like, how close can I stand before it hits me, or before it would hit me?
Okay, so Cindy leans over right before class starts. Hey, Silas, you like danger, right? She just comes straight out and says that.
Depends.
I see, you know, I don't exactly know how she phrases it, but basically she's like, listen, there's something I want you to do for me. You know, you're fast, you got a level head, but you're a little bit of a shit disturber, and so I think that, okay, I'm having this party, right?
Yeah.
And you're not invited, but here's the thing: you could be invited, because the guy who normally boots for me and buys me alcohol, I don't know, he fucked off or something. So listen, there's, you know, that gas station, the one that still does VHS rental.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a liquor cabinet there. They've got some stuff. Anyways, I was wondering, I mean, it's locked and everything, but like, I don't think it would be that hard to, you know, smash the glass, grab a couple bottles of Sailor Jerry's, and, you know, dodge out with them. And I could really use some more booze for this party. It's gonna be pretty shit without it. What do you think?
I think that sounds like an excellent plan, except, and I'm happy to do it if you're there with me.
Well, no, the whole point is that, like, I would send someone expendable to do it.
What's in it for me?
You get to drink some of it at my party that I'm inviting you to. If you do it, why would I even be there? What do you mean?
You need to come along with me. You don't have to break the glass. You don't have to do anything, but you have to be inside the gas station when I do it. I'm not going to carry it all back myself.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. I mean,
Don't you want to be? Don't you have the desire to do stuff like that? I mean, you want somebody else to do it. Why don't you want to do it? Why don't you want to be there?
no, I mean, yeah, I'll do it for sure. I mean, that creep who works there, Tommy, he's like into me or whatever anyways, so I'll just play that up, you know. It'll like be like I'll be like providing cover.
All right.
Cool. So like, when do you want to do this? Like after the service, or like?
Let's do it during the service.
That's awesome. It'll be like for Todrick.
All right. Yeah. We'll do it for Todrick.
Pour a little out.
Cool. So Cindy is busy scheming booze theft. Drake and Wings and Maggot are talking about potentially trailing the mayor post-service. I'm wondering, is there anything interesting going on in the classroom today that's worth talking about? Gerard, we haven't really seen you at all. Do you have any thoughts about things that might be going on in the classroom or things that might be going on in your social life, or should we skip ahead a little bit?
I think I am just at the center of this, listening to all of the various plans and machinations, and pretending I've got that one earphone in, and I'm sort of, but I'm blanking that out, and I'm just listening to everyone else, and I'm just creeping on everyone else right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, you have heard. Maybe you kind of like, in the way that you are a witch, you've got this like eerie good hearing sometimes. It's like like their voices just happen to carry all the way across the classroom to your ears alone. And you know that Drake is talking to Maggie, like, okay, yeah, maybe we'll do something, like maybe we'll start something after the service. And you're hearing that Cindy is gonna go with Silas to rob the liquor store. A not good idea at all. You hear this thing going on with Francis, where Riley is just convinced that Francis is someone important, and Francis is like, no, I'm a nobody, I promise, I swear. You're picking up all of this. What's going through your head, and what do you do?
I am getting there is some crazy shit over here and some crazy shit over here, but I am quite shallow, and I am concerned that someone is talking to the guy who is meant to be into me. So I'm gonna go intervene in that, and I'm gonna stoke the fires a little bit, actually, because I'm kind of annoyed. No, Riley, where did you think you knew him from? Because I mean, he knows you, right? I mean, have you guys seen each other before?
No, I've never seen him before. I mean, around town or whatever. But
it's that he looks over at you, Francis, and like there's this moment where he's like, oh right, like clearly Francis is in the closet about this, like it's that, or maybe he's not so convinced anymore that you're doe eyes, but he's like, even if a possibility, that I probably shouldn't go blurting it out.
What? So what does he actually say?
He's then quick to like, come in, something like that, and I don't know. I get deja vu sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, this is really significant, but it's just like,
yeah, but you called him
that I smoke too much weed, and I get tripped out sometimes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, but it's like you called him Doe Eyes, like you know him from somewhere. What's Doe Eyes, man?
Oh no. Just like he's got doe eyes, like he's like and he's fumbling and he's rambling a little bit, but he doesn't really have a solid answer to that question.
Okay, man. Okay, no, that's cool. I'm just kind of Googling Doe Eyes right now.
I want to reach out and put my hand, like, not quite on top of your phone, but sort of interfering with your phone there, and just be like, Gerard, look, he's just this guy.
The fuck are you doing with my phone, man? No, don't touch me.
All right,
don't touch me when I'm Googling. Okay.
Francis. Okay. So Francis, I want to know: is this a moment where you are trying to like shut down what Gerard is doing, like either by grabbing the phone or by being like, forget about it, it's not a real thing?
I was actually more trying to lean into a turn on to try to distract him.
Okay, yeah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I hold my hands up away from your phone, and I'm like, no, Gerard, he just, this guy, he's seen me around town a couple of times, and I don't know, maybe I complimented him on his stupid makeup or whatever, but no, it's look, Gerard, and I reach my hand out, and I don't put it on your phone, but I put it on your like wrist, And I'm like, he's just crazy, Gerard, and he thinks I'm someone I'm not. And look, I just don't worry about it. It's okay. And I kind of bat my big doe eyes at him. I try to look all the innocent that I am.
Okay, so what's that one final line that you say, that like final like flirty or innocent line that you say that tips that over into a turning on? Because I think we're almost there.
What about, don't you think I have doe eyes? Don't you think you should just call me that or something?
Perfect. Yeah, don't you think doe eyes is something that somebody would call me?
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. When you turn someone on, roll a thought.
Oh wow. Okay, I got a 5.
Gerard, you've mentioned that you were Googling doe eyes, or you were searching on YouTube for doe eyes, and the first video just starts auto playing.
Oh no.
You hear that characteristic "Hi everyone" of the start of a YouTube vlog. Francis, it's very clearly your voice, and you have like maybe 4 seconds before a lot of people in the classroom realize that this is you talking. And you know this video, this video is about glitter contouring or something like that. Like it's really, it's just like an out there flamboyant, like gay kind of like arty makeup tutorial. And like, what do you do?
I drop all pretense of like trying to lie or feign innocence, and I look at Gerard, my hand's still sort of on your wrist. My eyes are just wide, and I look terrified. And I say, Gerard, please stop the video. I'll tell you everything after school. And I want to spend a string to tempt them to do what I want.
Perfect.
And I'm going to take that out. All right, man. All right, but I want to hear it all. Because if I don't hear it all, I am, I mean, there's a share button on these. If you don't want these around, they should be private, unlisted at least. There's, like, people are going to find these, man.
Well, they don't have to right now, okay? Just turn your phone off.
Awesome, perfect. We cut ahead. We are now at the service. We see the opening. The principal, who is the principal's name is Mrs. Jeanette, and she is native but did not grow up in the reservation. She grew up in Allswell proper, and so she's emceeing everything. And sorry, there's a black cat just jumped through my window, and so I'll be right back. 1 second.
Like,
is it her black cat? Is it just a random black cat?
She doesn't have a black cat. The way that she reacts.
That's really
random.
So was that not your black cat?
No, I have a black cat.
Oh, okay.
Of course I have a black cat. Mrs. Jeanette. We had a glitchy moment there, but I think we're good. So Mrs. Jeanette is opening the service, and it's like really somber, and it's like there are never words when this kind of thing happens in a town as small as ours. And it's very somber and serious, and the theme of her opening message is like be enough to honor a life. And she I know that our town has experienced a lot of loss, both in terms of people who have parted in recent years and has crumbled. Let this be the last tragedy that this town needs to. And from there, we're just going to cut immediately to Silas and Cindy at the front of the liquor store. And Cindy brought she's got her like typical mean girl outfit, but she's got this big scarf, and she's like kind of wrapped the scarf around herself and like pulled it up, like partially obscuring her face. Like she's not really sure what the etiquette is or the protocol is, but she's like, just in case, you know, she's ready. And she's like, okay, so tell it to me one more time. How is this going to go down?
Well, you're gonna. What's the name of the person she knows there?
Tommy.
Tommy. So you're gonna distract Tommy. I'm gonna break the glass. When Tommy turns because he sees the glass broken, you're gonna hit him in the back of the head with this. And I hand her a little bat club.
And she's like, okay, just like, whew, okay, yeah, no problem. That's great. I can definitely do that. Just one and done. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
unless you want to switch,
right?
and I'll. You're good, or you want to break the glass?
No, I can do it. I mean, whatever.
Can I be watching this through one of my through my hacks that I have on Silas, because I knew that they were going to go rob the store, so I'm going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, where are you when you're doing this?
I think I'm just in the bathroom, and I've just locked myself up in one of the cubicles because I have to kind of go into a sleep. So I've just kind of locked the cubicle and hope that no one comes in. And that's the one that people go in to get high. So I have I just kind of lit a joint and left it on the side. So that people know not to come in whilst I'm getting high. It's kind of an accepted thing that like the teachers don't even go in there, because it's just like if we know they're there, we know exactly where that's happening.
Awesome. Yeah, this is like the cubicle where like the toilet doesn't flush and hasn't flushed for like a year, like it's broken. For sure. Yeah, why don't you roll that hex casting roll?
Okay.
Do you have a sympathetic token on one of them?
I do. I've got Silas's history book.
Awesome.
I got a 8.
All right, so that move is you can cast hexes. To cast them, either expend a sympathetic token during a secret ritual, which you did. So you rolled with dark, and on a 7 and 9, it works, but choose one. And which do you choose?
Sorry, let me just find a thing. Choose one.
The casting does you 1 harm, or the hex has weird side effects, or you trigger your darkest self.
I think the hex has weird side effects, and I think that the weird side effects are at the robbery.
Yeah. Yeah, Cindy. So Cindy is like, don't worry about it, Silas. I'm gonna be totally fine, and she's not gonna be fine at all. But you hear this like weird, like, you know, the sound of pipes when water is flowing through them, how they have that kind of like ringing noise almost. You kind of hear that noise. Like it's weird. It's almost like it's radiating from like inside of Cindy's head. Noise. It's faint. It's probably nothing, or like it's like a weird thing. But like you could swear for a second it just sounded inside of Cindy's head.
Is there any
like,
chance?
Cool.
Is there any chance that I might be able to be there as well? That I might have been able to follow them?
Yeah, you totally followed them. Why did you follow them?
I think I wanted to. I think I probably also overheard what was going on, and I think I was like, "Oh, this I could help. I could help out and steal this stuff and kind of like get in with Cindy because she has that like kind of hazing thing with the $20 stealing thing, and I think I could just get in that way. But I think I want to kind of like keep some distance.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go in like with them, but I'm going to watch.
That Cassidy is
Mhm.
trailing you. She thinks that she's like quite clever, quite like subtle. But she's like wearing like ostentatious punk garb at all times, and so
Very true.
you notice that Cassidy is kind of low key trailing you guys. Do you mention that to Cindy? What do you do?
No, I don't mention it to Cindy. I just kind of just keep an eye on where Cassidy is.
Awesome. Cindy opens the door. She's like, "All right, Silas, do it."
But you got to go in first and distract him.
And she's like, right. Yeah, I knew that. Okay, I'm gonna do it. And she walks in and like immediately like up pitches her voice and is like, "Tommy, I want something to drink. Like I want to. Can I just have a rock star? I forgot my wallet." And is immediately kind of like doing this annoying bratty whine voice, asking him for stuff, flipping through the magazines, being like a very needy customer in person. What do you do? How long do you wait? A few seconds? What's that?
Yeah, I think I wait a few seconds, but then I just kind of hustle in right towards the liquor cabinet thing and just elbow the glass and it shatters it.
Okay, and I want to know, for some people, the act of just strolling in and smashing the glass and trusting that your accomplice is going to do her part. For some people, that would require keeping their cool and acting despite fear. But what about you? Are you having to fight off nerves?
No, I'm like enjoying the nerves. Like the thrill of getting caught is probably more. I'm feeding off of that. So yeah, I probably have nerves, but I'm enjoying it instead of fighting it off.
Mm-hmm. So you smash the glass, you reach in and so like you are just like a smooth like operator. You know how to break and grab. But the moment you do that, Tommy whirls around and is like, "Hey, what the?" And Cindy, like freezes up for a second, and then swings, but swings a little too late and kind of just like hits him in the ear. So like he's like, "Ah!" But it's not enough. And then she accidentally kind of like fumbles as that happens and drops the bat. So now the bat is like across the counter at Tommy's feet, and Tommy's like got a bit of like blood at his temple, but is definitely still conscious. What do you do?
So I think I just I grab what I have, like and is he between me and the door, or just can I head out? Can I just, or am I able to like dash for the door?
In the door, but he's like behind the counter. So
Okay.
probably if you just like sprinted out the door, you could.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. Is I just sprint out the door with whatever bottles I was able to grab so far.
Awesome.
Like there was I grabbed a
roll
box and I roll volatile. Okay. And my volatile is what, +2? And that's an 8.
So when you run away on a 7 and 9, you get away, but choose one. And do you see that list there?
Yeah, I run into something worse.
Awesome. Okay, so there's two options for what that worst could be in my mind, and one of them is Cassidy. And I'm wondering, Cassidy, are you the something worse? If
Yeah.
you're just watching and you're not an issue, then that's fine, and I'm going to introduce something different. But I wanted to pitch that to you as a possibility.
I think that Cassidy is. I think when she sees Cindy like hit Tommy, I think she kind of gets a little overexcited and wants to get in on that. And I think she's going to kind of like run in there. And I think she's probably a little bit more excited than Silas has probably seen her before. I don't know if she's like full on like, she's probably not wolfing out or anything of that nature, but she's like moving and definitely, I think she's probably not going to be particularly subtle and is probably going to like kind of plow through him to go and just kind of like, I don't know, probably jump on Tommy.
So I'm experiencing a lot of kind of glitch or technical difficulties on my end here. I didn't hear a lot about
Okay.
that. Can people hear me clearly?
Now I can for sure.
At the
Yep.
moment.
So I will repeat. Basically,
Awesome. Yeah.
I was going to. I think Cassie is getting saw the violence inside happening and is super like excited by that, and is just going to haul ass in there and jump on Tommy. And I think is probably going, if Silas happens to be in the way, she's going to just plow through him.
Awesome. So Silas, you bolt. You leave Cindy in there. You bolt, and as you're heading out, Cassidy just like runs directly past you, heading in. Cassidy, do you say anything to Silas as you run past?
I think I'm gonna probably say like, "Wow, you really just leaving her in there?" And head in anyway. Not waiting for an answer.
All right. And Silas, what do you do?
So I think that I'm kind of taken aback by that, and I think maybe it could be cool if like Cassidy kind of just brushes against me as she runs by, not enough to like knock the bottles out of my arms, but I'm kind of just so stunned by it, like kind of like what the, that I just end up dropping the bottles anyway. And I probably turn around to watch and see what happens.
More glitchiness, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we're back up again now, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
So as Cassidy ran by me, she just.
So Dylan, I heard you are, but Silas is just like letting it happen, right?
Yeah, I kind of, and I stop and turn around and watch.
Mm-hmm. Now Tommy is super disoriented because someone smashed the liquor cabinet, someone else tried to take him out, someone bolted, and someone else ran in. So he at this point just like grabs the shotgun from underneath the counter. Like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are trying to pull. Hit the ground or something like that. Or like, but hands up.
Cassidy
He's
is
definitely in
totally.
his mind. He's in this mind. He's like, this is now officially like the Wild West, you know?
Cassidy is totally going to jump him.
Awesome, cool. Roll to lash out physically.
Will do.
Got intense really fast.
Right. I got a 9. Right about that? Yeah. I got a... Yes, I got a 9.
You got a 9?
Yep.
I think also when I see how serious this is going, I'm going to snap out of the trance that I'm in, and I'm going to call the cops. And I'm not going to say specifically who is there, but I'm just going to call the cops and say that I just walked past the liquor store, and there's someone is robbing the liquor store.
Everyone, sorry, I'm still experiencing a lot of like glitchy connection issues.
Do we want
to
to
the
just...
point where I can't quite follow, and so I'm going to try exiting this call, logging back on, seeing if that helps.
The other thing we could... Do we want to try and maybe just having people's video go off? Would that help, do people think?
We can give it a go.
Yeah, let's give that a go.
I've already turned off video on my side, so we could all try turning off video and see how that works.
Yeah. See how it goes.
I mean, you're coming through very clearly, Shane.
Yeah.
Avery, I could hear you then.
Okay, so Shane, you were lashing out, or Cassidy was lashing out physically. What was the result of your roll?
I got a 9.
Awesome. And so on a 7 and 9, you harm them, but you choose one. Either they learn something about your true nature and gain a string on you, or the MC decides how bad the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self.
I'll let you decide how the harm turns out.
I mean, all three of them, I think, point in the same direction, which is you becoming your darkest self.
Okay.
You want to read that little text aloud from your skin character sheet?
That. Let me scroll back down there. All right. Darkest Self. You transform into a terrifying wolf creature. You crave power and dominance, and those are earned through bloodshed. If anyone attempts to stand in your way, they must be brought down and made to bleed. You escape your darkest self when you wound someone you really care about, or the sun rises, whichever happens first. All right, guess I'm wolfing out.
Okay, so Silas. Sorry, Ollie, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no. I was just going to ask if Silas could see that, and hence if I could see that.
Definitely, Silas is watching, and if you're watching too, then what you all see is there is commotion in the liquor store, and then Silas runs out midway through what is clearly a heist of some type. And then Cassidy, coming in from the other direction, sprints in, jumps across the counter to Tommy, and I think maybe like I imagine what the view is from outside, if this is okay to narrate, is that you see a human girl leap over the counter, taking down Tommy, and then there's like commotion from behind the counter, and so you see like, you know, Tommy's arm reaching up to the counter to try and grab, and accidentally like pulling down the magazine rack, and you see maybe his ball cap kind of fly into the air, and then like a werewolf rise up, holding the limp body of Tommy. And Cassidy, how far did you go this attack?
I would say probably, I mean, he's definitely going to need to be hospitalized. I don't know if like, I think it's more just kind of beating on him. I don't think I like slashed him up or anything like that, but he's definitely well and broken. Yeah.
And what does your werewolf form look like? Like, is it like a giant wolf? Is it like a mostly humanoid thing?
I think it's definitely still humanoid looking. I think it's more. I'm wiry by nature, so I think it's, again, I think I'm staying with that wiriness, but definitely much bulkier, but still kind of like a gaunt look to it. Kind of like an underfed wolf, I guess.
Awesome. And what happens next? What do you do?
I mean, I'm probably going to turn on probably whoever's closest, which I guess is probably going to be Cindy. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to jump on her.
So Silas, you're outside. You see you see Cassidy leap over the lot of commotion and rustling, and then Cassidy isn't what stands up. A werewolf is what stands up. As this revelation happens, Cindy is like slowly in shock, taking like steps backwards, and kind of backs up into like the Doritos stand, steps backwards onto it, and so it's kind of like sprawled out on the floor of the convenience store. Cassidy appears to be like lurching in that direction or looming in that direction. What do you do?
So I think I'm going to run in and try and grab Cassidy and pull her out of the store.
This sounds like
Awesome.
it's going to go well.
Cassidy, Silas is charging in here. Do you notice that and respond, or are you singularly focused on Cindy?
I am singularly focused on Cindy.
So I think that what happens here is you get to like looming over Cindy, like claws up, and Silas comes in. Silas, are you gonna try and grab Cassidy and pull her out, or are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt her, but I'm just trying to stop her from attacking Cindy.
Cool. What's going through your head right now?
I'm like, man, this got crazy fast, but let's, I know that like the death is real for Cindy, so I want to try and, have her not die.
Mm-hmm. Now you've got the hunger. You've got the hunger for thrills.
Yes.
And when you ignore a promising feeding opportunity, you have to roll to keep your cool. And I'm just wondering, does that apply right now? It seems like you are trying to minimize the level of chaos and catastrophe in the room at the moment.
Yeah, I would say so. I would probably need to keep my cool here.
Awesome. So let's roll that to see how that goes.
Okay. So
you keep your cool in order to grab Cassidy and pull her away.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's an 8.
Awesome. So on a 7 and 9, the MC will tell you how your actions will leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. And I think I think that like Cassidy is actually like pretty big in werewolf form, and to grab her and like tug her out of the gas station would mean like putting all of your energy and focus into doing that. And so you would all of a sudden have Cassidy like claws and fangs bared in close proximity to you. And if she, you'd pull her out of the gas station, but if she lashed back against you, like you would be so vulnerable to her. So you realize that's going to be true the moment you first lay hands on her. Do you do it?
Yeah, I think I commit and go through with it anyway.
So Cassidy, at first you don't realize what's going on, but someone's grabbing you. They're pulling you out of the gas station. They got you at the door of the gas station. It is Silas. What do you do?
I mean, I think I'm definitely going to kind of like, I'm still kind of flipping out. So I'm still going to probably turn on him and try and go after him.
Awesome. Are you lashing out physically?
Most definitely.
Cool. And how are you doing that? Are you like grabbing the hand that's on you? Are you like biting Silas in the face? What are you doing?
I feel like I'm probably getting kind of, let's see here. I feel like I'm probably getting pulled from behind. So I'm probably going to just like go after the arms. So with both teeth and it's probably teeth is probably the only thing I'm going to be able to use right now. So yeah, I'm probably going to try and go after one of the arms that is pulling me out.
Cool. Just bite that hand.
Yep. All right. So I am, and volatile. Sorry. +1, +1. And that is an 8.
Awesome. So when you lash out physically, you harm them, but choose one. Does Silas learn something about your true nature and gain a string on you? Or do I decide how bad the harm turns out?
I mean, I think it certainly feels like Silas probably is going to be learning about my true nature, seeing as though I'm a werewolf at this point in time. So we might as well get those strings set up.
Awesome. So I think that so Silas, you get a string on Cassidy. A big werewolf bite is probably 2 harm, according to the guidelines in the book. Giant claws are 2 harm, so that seems roughly equivalent. If it's okay, I'd like to suggest that the thing you learn about Cassidy's true nature isn't that she's a werewolf, because we already have established that in this scene. But I think Cassidy, you got in over your head, and then like immediately you're just lashing out at anyone you can. Is this just like a character trait of yours? Is this how you are when you're a human too?
I don't think so. I think this is definitely something new. I think this is
such a leading question. What about how you are acting in this situation reflects how you are as a human?
Gotcha. I think that I'm definitely the type of person that when when something goes down per se, I am going to kind of make it right / follow through with it. And I think I'm seeing this as the way to kind of like follow through with it, is just to kind of like stick to the just attack everything and just like kind of make it all go away. If that makes sense.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Silas, you just had your hand bitten by a werewolf. Cindy is, I think Cindy has gotten up and is just bolted into the back storeroom of the gas station at this point. It seems like Cassidy is out for blood and not relenting. And so, Silas, what do you do?
I think once I see that like Cindy's kind of clear, I'm gonna I'll let Cassidy go.
Awesome. And do you try and bolt? Do you try and
I'll run around to the back. I'll run around to the back of the store to see if Cindy comes out like the back exit.
All right, Cassidy, I wonder, you escape your darkest self when you wound someone you really care about or the sun rises. Who do you really care about in this setting?
I think, so are we saying in general, or are we saying with regards to the people in the scene? I mean, maybe Cindy, because like I kind of want to be friends with her. Either that or probably my mom.
Awesome. All right, so I think Silas, like Cindy has bolted, Silas runs away from you as well. Are are you like chasing them down like Werewolf on the Hunt, or are you like gonna have like a moment to dramatically like knock over some garbage cans and howl and prowl around?
I think I'm probably going to go after Cindy, because I think that I still feel like there was something that needed to happen there and it didn't happen. So I want to make that happen.
Okay, I'm gonna cut to Gerard. Gerard, where are you at the moment?
I am currently rushing out of the toilet. I have been, because I saw all of that through Silas's eyes, so I'm freaking the fuck out. And I have been texting I've been texting Francis and telling him to meet me as soon as he can by the bathrooms. And I'm kind of waiting and shaking outside the bathroom, waiting for him to turn up. But Drake saw us texting, or saw during the memorial service, so he's been kind of giving him the evil eye. So if Francis does try and sneak out, Drake would probably notice that.
Okay, I think that Drake might notice that, but I think maybe like Drake wouldn't immediately follow. I want to know what happens. Francis, you meet. You've been texting with Gerard. Gerard's been telling you like, "Whoa, some crazy supernatural stuff is happening. Meet me in the bathroom." And do you go?
Yeah. I shove my phone in my pocket, and I try to just make it look like I have to go to the bathroom.
Awesome. And so the two of you meet there. Gerard, what's the first thing you say?
I'm not going to say anything. First of all, I'm actually really shook up, so I am gonna hug him and I want to feel some comfort. So I'm actually just going to go in for a kiss now.
Awesome. So you're clearly distressed. You just pull Francis in.
Yeah, I just want to feel. Yeah, I want to feel someone close. So I'm pulling him in. I'm like borderline crying, and I'm just gonna pull him in for a hug, and then I'm just gonna go in for the kiss.
All right, Francis. This is all very sudden. You let that happen. You go with it.
Yeah, I don't think Francis has any idea what to do. I think that he just kind of freezes, and then like without like moving his head, he'll kind of like move his eyes around to see if there's anybody else around from as far as what he can see. And then I think after like a moment of hesitation and considering stopping, he just like melts into it and just wraps his arms back around Gerard.
So I think
can I just say I will send someone after him when I get a chance to.
Awesome. Yeah.
Continue then.
Totally. Yeah. We'll cut back to see what Drake has done in just a second. And I just want to know, Gerard, could you describe a little bit about what this kiss is like, and then roll to turn someone on?
Yeah. So I've got the meticulous look. So I shave daily, and my skin is really smooth. But Francis, he didn't shave this morning, so I feel this kind of I feel the strangeness of the stubble against my lips, and I'm freaking out, and it's kind of, there's no dishonesty about it at all. Like, I'm usually a really guarded person, but I'm just, because I'm freaking out so much, there's very clearly no pretense here, and there's something vulnerable and appealing about that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Cool. Okay, roll those dice.
Hey, that is a 4.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay, so let's cut back to you, Drake, and then we'll find out what happens with that 4 in a second.
Yeah. So at the ceremony, I was my gang was standing. We refused to sit down. We kind of just stood against the wall in a line. So when Francis started texting, I immediately spotted that he was doing that, and I found it inappropriate. And so I got kind of pissed off and kind of curious. And so when he ducks out of the room, I sent Wings after him. I just kind of gave a little signal that he should go and see what he was up to.
Okay, let me just pull up the homeroom chart. Wings, the new favorite. So much potential, but he really doesn't know how to take care of himself or style his hair. Great, that's all we have about Wings so far. So so Wings comes into the bathroom, sees Francis and Gerard kissing, and let's see. I feel like I feel like Wings just kind of like angrily accosts Francis, and is like, have you no respect?
Yep.
And it's just like, have you no respect? Have you no honor?
Yeah.
Get your scraggly head ass out of my vision. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here now.
I think Wings is even armed in school. I think he's got a knife or something. So
Awesome.
He might even pull that out.
Yeah, he hasn't yet. That's not it. That's not where he's going yet. Right now, he's just he is so appalled that Francis would be ducking out of the memorial service of one of their community members to go make out with a white boy, no less, potentially. Is that true of Gerard?
Yeah, Gerard is white. Yeah.
Yeah. So Francis, you have just snuck out of the memorial service of a fellow reserve kid to go make out with some white boy in the bathroom, and Wings is just choked. And Gerard, did I hear that you said something to him?
Yeah. I'm still really distraught, so I'm not having this at all. I'm just like, get your scraggly haired ass the fuck out of my vision now. Get out of here.
Francis, this is an intense situation. How are you feeling? What's going through your head?
Holy shit. There's on top of the intense situation, just in general, all the anger that's in the air, I think there's definitely blood flowing away from the brain at this moment. And he is having a very hard time focusing on the situation. And when Wings first walks in, Francis's first response in his head is just get the fuck out of here. We are busy. And then he I kind of take a few deep breaths and I'm like, holy shit, no, Wings, this is not what it looks like. It's there's something going on. He needed my help. I am not disrespecting our guy, man. I swear I'm not.
And Wings interrupts you, spits on the floor, is it's you should be ashamed of yourself. Todrick, Todrick is our brother. Todrick, he's going on. He's naming all of the ways in which you come from a tiny, deeply integrated place. For him, this is entirely an issue of you being a traitor, and of you being disrespectful of the dead. And and he looks so angry, and then he points at Gerard. He like points a finger like almost right in Gerard's face, and it's like, you're gonna let him talk to me like that?
I'm going to slap his hand out of my face.
Awesome. So that sounds like you're shutting someone down.
Okay.
Why can't we be friends?
That's better. 13.
I just wanted to suggest that actually before Todrick died, the gang didn't actually care for him that much. He's kind of the teacher's pet. He sits up the front of class. He wasn't involved with us. We didn't really like him, but now that he's dead, he's one of our people, and it's all about getting revenge or whatever.
Totally.
Awesome. Yeah.
I like it.
So what option do you pick from that sheet, Ollie?
Sorry, I was muted. I want to give him a condition, but I'm not sure what that is yet. If anyone else has a suggestion, I think a condition seems right there, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
What about always in the way?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go.
Ouch, that hurts.
Awesome. So so Drake, Wings has been gone a minute. Are you just focused on being there and holding space for Todrick's memory? What are you doing?
No, I'm definitely torn between staying and going to see what's going down, because he should have been back by now. I wanted him to just go find out, come tell me, and he hasn't come back. So I think I will find a moment to slip away. Maybe the ceremony is even coming to an end, or maybe they're changing speakers or something, and I'll just kind of duck out.
Awesome. So the moment you duck out, you can hear the argument down the hall. They're around the corner, so you can hear everything they're saying, and that this is the moment where you come in. What are you doing?
I guess I'm just initially taking in the situation. So what am I seeing as I get in there? Where is everyone?
It sounds like you're seeing Wings like pointing and yelling. Gerard slapping Wings' hand out of the way. Francis standing there awkwardly, unsure what to do next.
Francis is actually going to start as soon as the finger goes in the face and then gets slapped away. Francis is going to start trying to sort of worm in between them. Like, A, he knows these guys are dangerous and he doesn't want Gerard to get hurt. And B, this is sort of a native thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I see the actual slapping, then I'm probably going to escalate it a little bit.
Yeah.
But if I miss that, then it's going to be maybe different.
Yeah, you definitely see it. What do you do next?
Okay. Yeah. So I push the door open. I stand up. I see this slap to Wings. I stand up tall, and now I don't know what the security checks are like at this school, but if they're not particularly strong, then I'm carrying a gun. So I'm just going to pull it on. Sorry,
Gerard.
What's your name? Gerard. Yes.
So Gerard, I want to ask you here. This hex that you had going, where you're seeing everything through Silas's eyes, is that still also active?
No, that went when I woke up, unless there's something particularly vital that we could bring in at that point, which would be cool. But no, I think as per the rules, that went when I woke up and freaked out and started texting.
Okay, so I'm just going to say, back off.
Awesome. We're going to cut back now to the gas station. Silas has run around one side of the building to get to Cindy, and Cassidy has run around the other side. And so it's kind of like Cindy's in the middle, and these two monstrous folks come around opposite sides of the buildings coming towards her. And she's freaked out. She got it together enough to get out for a minute there. But she sees this werewolf coming around one side, this co-conspirator coming around the other. She's freaked out. Silas and Cassidy, what are you doing in this moment? Are you just like running towards Cindy as fast as you can? Are you trying to call out to her? What's going on?
Yeah, I think I call out to her and I go, come on, come with me.
Cassidy?
I think I'm gonna stare at both of them. I can't really. Guess I'm trying to figure out how. Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of. I guess I'm trying to figure out, can I, as my darkest self, am I able to do anything other than just what happens with the darkest self? Like, just continue being the, like, kill all the things? Or can I do other things?
Yeah, no, you can definitely do other things. Like you right now are in werewolf form, which means like your baseline of behavior shifted from like petty high schooler dealing with petty high school drama to hulking werewolf, like stalking around and out for blood. But definitely that's like the kind of the baseline that your actions are deviating from, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I would like to I'd like to kind of like try and size up the situation, as it were. I.e., can I like kind of take stock of the situation, i.e., use heightened senses, because it seems like a charged situation.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, then I will roll with dark, which I have a -1 on, so this should be great. Oh, oof. Yeah, that'd be a 4. So that's not happening.
Awesome. So on a 10 up, you get to ask 3 of these questions. On a 7 to 9, you get to ask 1, and either way, you take 1 forward. So for a less than 7 result,
All you.
why don't you ask 3 of these questions?
Ask 3 of these questions?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Which enemy is the most vulnerable to me?
Definitely the enemy that is the most vulnerable to you is Silas. You can tell that Silas is super frail, has never been in an intense or thrilling or dangerous or harm-oriented situation before. Like Silas is easy pickings.
All right. What's their secret weakness?
Their secret weakness is that. This is a good question. That's a good question. So my goal here is to get you to ask these questions and then just give you really unreliable information.
Right.
But
well, I mean, I think the direction is that like I'm going to go after Silas, and that seems to be the angle that this is pointing towards.
Yeah, but I think actually we're going to I'm going to introduce a different thing.
Okay.
So Silas is like, come on, Cindy, come on, and Cindy's like, confused and trying to get her bearings, and you are taking a moment to like really like attune to the situation and survey and you do just like a really bad job of that. And I think what happens is that Tommy totally came to.
Whoa.
Came around the back of the store, and that bat that was used to like clobber him with, he clocks you with it and knocks you unconscious.
All right.
How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Does Silas see this happen too?
Yeah, Silas, you see this. You see Tommy come back just when we thought he was out. He comes back. He clocks Cassidy in a moment where she was. And Cindy is just kind of still standing there. So you two were the two who originally broke in, and now he's standing there holding off someone out. Silas, what do you do?
I think I still want to try and get Cassidy out of there. So I think I tell Cindy to, just to run, and to run away, and I run back towards them to try and pull Cassidy away.
Cool. So your plan to grab the unconscious Cassidy and then make a run for it?
Yes.
Awesome. In that case, roll to run away.
Okay. That's a 5, and what's runaway plus?
Volatile.
A volatile. Okay, so that's a 7 then.
All right. So on a 7 and 9, you get away, but you choose one. You run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind.
I still kind of like I run into something worse.
And the police had been called, right?
Oh yeah, the police have been called.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna cut back again. We're gonna come back and find out what that something worse is in a minute. But definitely, you grab Cassidy's limp body and you begin running back towards the road. We're gonna cut back now to Drake. Just pulled. Wow, everything escalated really quickly today. So Gerard, you are standing there, having just made out with this boy, and then Wings accosted you both, and then out of nowhere came Drake, who pulled a gun. And Drake, what do you say when you pull that gun?
Yeah, I said, "Back the fuck off," and I'm pointing it at Gerard.
Francis, what do you two do?
I've never even. Sorry, you go first.
Sorry, I definitely like jump immediately between Drake and Gerard, and I'm just like, whoa, Drake, whoa, drop it.
And I've never even seen a gun before, so I'm not going to back off, but I'm just going to freeze, and I am terrified. However, I am hoping that. I'm just. Or just freezing? I don't think so, because I'm clearly shitting myself.
Francis, I'm wondering actually, does jumping in the way of the line of fire, the line of potential fire, that seems like you need to keep your cool to act despite fear.
Yeah, terrified for sure.
Yeah, why don't you roll keeping your cool?
Can I also suggest that that you get Wings kind of involved in getting in the way, because he had that always in the way condition.
Ooh, yes.
Very nice.
So yeah, that's a great call. So Christopher, your character Francis, when you keep your cool and act despite fear, name what you're afraid of and roll with cold. Now, in this situation when you're jumping in front of the gun, what are you most afraid of?
I'm afraid that Gerard is going to get shot.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. you can roll with cold, and since Wings is also there and could potentially be in the way as well, you can definitely take advantage of. I feel like you can take advantage of Wings' condition of always in the way to add to your cold roll.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just +1, is it?
Yeah, anytime you use you leverage a condition, it adds +1 to your roll.
Excellent, and that brings me to a 7. I would have failed without it.
So at 7 and 9, the MC will tell you how your actions will leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. So first of all, the obvious vulnerability is that you will then be in the line of fire and could get shot. But I think more than that, you are stepping up like right next to Wings, and Wings is right in the middle of this tense situation and might not keep his cool. So you are within like you're just putting yourself really in like a vulnerable position as far as like Wings like doing something to you goes.
Yeah, and from a different side that I'm not paying attention to too. Yeah, I'll still do it.
All right, Drake, what do you do?
To Wings.
Sorry, I missed the first part of that.
So I'm going to say, Wings, grab Francis.
Sure, Wings grabs Francis and pulls.
Get him out of the way.
Yeah.
I want to try to fight that as best I can.
All right, yeah, I want to know what do you, so Wings tries to grab you and pull you off to the side. And how exactly are you fighting that? What are you doing?
It's not really my nature to be violent, but I also don't have time to put up with this shit. There's a gun involved, so I just want to like shove Wings as hard as I can against the wall away from me.
Awesome. So Drake, you're like, Wings, pull Francis away, but Francis like uncharacteristically just turns and shoves Wings, and Wings goes like, peeling towards the wall and trips over a garbage can and falls. I'm wondering about Gerard. Gerard, what are you doing?
I am freaking out on so many levels, but I'm still mostly concerned with there's so much going on. But I was already ready to call the police, so I am calling the police, and with the intent of telling them what's going on at the liquor store. But I think there is a very likely chance that the Queen is going to mistake me as calling the police on her. But yeah, so I'm running back into the stalls, and they can hear me calling the police.
Awesome, Drake. What is your character? Do they have like an idea or does she have an idea in her mind of like how this is going to go down, like how this is all going to resolve, or is she just kind of like reacting moment to moment?
Basically reacting at this point. I think if once I hear him calling the police, her calling the police, I will. Sorry, I've forgotten.
No, him. Yeah,
him. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to continue escalating things. I'm going to probably actually grab Francis, try and pull him out of the bathrooms. Just sort of, I want to talk to you. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk to you, and pull him out. Leave in there on the phone, and then I'm going to try and stash my gun somewhere, not on my person, soon before the police get here. But for now, I just want to have a talk to Francis.
All right, so Francis, I'm just wondering, there's this like altercation. Someone draws a gun. Someone tries to grab you. You shove him over. And then all of a sudden, Drake, like someone's calling the police, and Drake's like, listen, we got to go. I want to talk to you. Like, and is looking for places to stash the gun. are you just gonna go with what Drake's doing and like try and de-escalate, or what are you thinking of?
I am, yeah. I'm going to it gets the gun away from Gerard, so I will follow along. But also I understand I'm sort of leaning into my sympathy as my weapon move here when you forgive someone for hurting you and excuse their base nature. I'm basically just like, look, I get it. Drake saw Wings involved in an altercation. He freaked out. It's not his fault. It's just kind of she's high tempered. So it's, it is what it is. So I'm just gonna go with him, with her, Drake, her, and try to de-escalate the situation.
Awesome.
Cool.
So, Drake, do you like tuck the gun away? Do you toss it in like the garbage can full of paper towel? What do you do?
I was going to drag Francis, sort of not too roughly, but sort of come this way, drag him out into the hall and then into a classroom or something. Maybe stash the gun under the teacher's desk, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think you go to the classroom, you go to stash the gun, and the memorial assembly lets out like right at that moment. So the halls begin to fill with kids again. I want to cut from there back to Silas and Cassidy. Dylan, you said BRB, are you back at the keyboard now?
Yeah, sorry, I was only gone for like a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I think you run directly into something worse when you run away from the gas station, and the bar for setting something worse is like you're running away from the guy who you just fairly unsuccessfully robbed, who's brandishing weapons. So I feel like something worse has to be like pretty bad. I feel like now when you died, you got hit by like a giant trailer truck, right?
Trailer truck, yep.
Yeah, you run onto the highway and like just like are not looking left and right. You've got this big wolf that you're trying to carry. So I think you just get hit by another semi.
All right.
Man. Trauma right back at you.
Yeah. Suggest was the pit, bringing the pit into it. But
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like I ran into the sinkhole.
That is good. That is good, but I think where I'm at the gas station is it's on the outskirts of town. I think you get hit by the semi truck.
Yeah, I think the semi truck is more poetic.
So you getting run over by a car, according to the rule book, that's like a 3 harm kind of thing. So it's enough to take Silas all the way up to 4 harm. So you are for the moment at least dead.
Okay.
I assume I'm getting hit by the semi truck too.
Yeah, Cassidy, I want to know like how like you.
I mean, I was apparently unconscious, so.
Yeah, do you think you get you take a glancing hit, or do you get like taken out pretty hard too? Like Silas is carrying you, and I think is the one who takes the brunt of the hit.
I wonder did Silas like have any time to make a decision as to whether to like throw me aside or just no time at all?
I think no time at all. I think Silas was entirely blindsided. He couldn't really see because he was carrying this giant wolf girl. And so I think you take some amount of harm, but not as much.
Yeah, I mean, I would say 1 or 2 harm, maybe.
Sounds great. Yeah, let's say 2 harm.
Okay.
You get hit. The screeching of the semi tires as it skids out. You kind of like Silas gets like run over, and you kind of get like hit out of his hands and kind of sense sprawling, if you can picture that. And I'm wondering, does this does this jolt your senses and wake you back up? Are you still out?
Yeah, I think it probably would wake me up.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you're waking up like in the midst of a car crash. Basically, you see the semi thumping over Silas and like trying to steer out of the way, but unsuccessfully doing so, and like the semi jackknifes and kind of like is like swerving wildly and out of control. It doesn't hit you, but it does careen, and one of its back wheels catches at one of the edges of the pit. Which like the pit kind of extends just out far enough, and so the truck is kind of like its rear end sinks into the pit, and it's kind of just stalled out on the road, and you see Silas is just limp and bloody. It's your call in this moment if you got jolted into wakefulness, but like if being knocked unconscious and then being jolted back into wakefulness, like are you still your darkest self and in werewolf form, or somewhere along the way did you kind of like shrink back into your human self?
I think probably let's go with I got knocked back into my normal self.
Awesome. So you are you're bruised and smashed up and maybe a little disoriented, and you come to with just because like the screeching of the brakes and everything of this semi is just so intense, and Silas is there next to you, dead. What's the first thought that goes through your head?
I'm totally gonna bolt. Actually, am I gonna do that? I think I'm still gonna try and find Cindy.
Awesome.
Like, I want to know where Cindy went because she's not here.
Yeah. So do you double back to the gas station?
Yes. I think that is what I'm gonna do.
What state are your clothes in after you do like a werewolf transformation?
Probably. Let's see. Probably pretty bad. I mean, if I'm going like straight kind of punk, I mean, pretty tight clothes. So if I wolf out and get a lot larger, I'm probably going like full on Hulk style. So pretty torn up.
Okay, so you are like tattered clothes, maybe like limping along a little bit.
Certainly limping.
Yeah, definitely messed up looking. If someone saw you, they would probably be alarmed and be like, "What happened?"
Yes.
And you get there to see in the store of the window, or in the window of the store. Or actually, no, just outside of the gas station. There's like a little step up, like sidewalk kind of perimeter around it, and Cindy is sitting down on that little stoop, and Tommy is like standing above her a few feet away, like kind of like still holding the bat in one hand and on the phone. And he's trying to like call this in to 911, like what happened. And he's like, and then he's like half explaining to the emergency response like person on the other side of the phone what happened, and half like using it as an opportunity to lecture Cindy. And kind of like shaking his bat in her general direction, but like in like a finger waggy kind of way. But he's like, and then these two, they had a third accomplice, just some, I don't know, like just like really like hairy freak, and he leaped across the counter and blah 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 blah, and Tommy's trying to explain to this emergency medical person exactly what happened, but it's just like increasingly finding it difficult to like explain it and rationalize it in his own head as something mundane. He's like, and then this other person was like really hairy. So then, okay, so there's two of them, and then someone maybe in a mask, and he's starting to realize what he maybe saw, and so he just starts he just bursts, breaks down crying. He's just sobbing into the 911 call, and Cindy looks really awkward, and that's what you see as you step up.
Man. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna try and scare him to run him off, or if I'm gonna try and I'm not very smooth, so I don't feel like I'm gonna be able to kind of coax her into leaving with me or something. But that's what I want. All right, I guess I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna.
Oh, I can't hear Shane.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally muted myself because I thought I was unmuting myself. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna feel a little stymied and just kind of shake my head and want to get away from the situation. And I think I'm gonna just run home.
Awesome. So you in the end leave Cindy there.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't feel good about it, but I don't feel like I can cope with the situation as it is.
yeah. As you're leaving, and you're about to head out, Cindy looks up at you, and locks eyes with you for just a split second, and she looks bewildered that you're there in the first place, and that you're as messed up looking as you are right now, but also kind of pleading, a pleading look in her eyes, please get me out of this situation. I'm in trouble.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So I guess I'm gonna then yeah, all right.
And if you still want to run home, that's great, but I just wanted to
No,
throw that moment.
that thank you for that. So if that's the case, then I'm totally gonna go. I'm gonna go up to what was his name? Tommy? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna just go up to him and smack the phone out of his hand and tell him to just go home.
Cool. So you smack the phone out of his hand and say, just go home.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're trying to shut someone down.
That is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, let's roll that.
All right. That is cool and cold. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have a -1 in that. Am I right about that? Let's see. I have cold -1. All right, this will go fantastically. 6. Oh yeah, that'd be a 3. So that's a fail.
Yeah. So you you go to swipe the phone out of his hand as he's calling 911, and he he was maybe unawares before, when people were jumping him and stuff like that, but now he definitely realizes that you all are violent thugs, and he's on his guard. So he takes a step back, and he's like back off, you little shit. And then continuing to deal with the 911 responder is oh my god, I recognize her. This is the one. She's the one who jumped me, Cassidy. Because it's a small town and people know each other.
Yep.
And so he gives your name and Cindy's name to the 911 person.
Oh, lovely.
So what do you do now?
I'm just gonna grab Cindy and try and start running.
Awesome. Roll to run away.
Right. That's volatile, which I have +1 in. 2. Find the window. All right. Ugh. 6. Man, I'm not doing well tonight.
Okay, let me just look at my list
Yeah,
of
go
moves.
for it.
Yeah. So when you grab Cindy to run away, where are you planning to go?
I feel like, what is it? I guess probably someplace like away from civilization. So someplace kind of in the woods or something like that, or yeah, I think I just want to get her away from people, wherever that would be. Looks like there's like on the scene locations, there's this Boyden's Gap.
Thank you. Yes. Boyden's Gap. Cars can't take Boyden now, but there's a bike route. Great. So you are taking her in that direction, but she realizes all of a sudden that like she like remembers the sequence of events that happened that she just saw. She's like piecing it together in her brain, like, right, you came in and then there was a wolf and that wolf tried to attack her and everything happened and this happened and this happened. It's kind of like she's like all of a sudden putting it all together, and now you're dragging her off into the woods. And as far as she's concerned, like, you are definitely a terrifying monster that made everything go wrong and is now trying to drag her off into the woods to like eat her or something. She's terrified of you. She pulls away and bolts in the opposite direction. And you've got this limp going on because of the truck. She doesn't. All of a sudden she has this clarity like that, like, Cassidy is a monster who wants to kill me, and she takes off. I want to cut to Drake and Francis in the classroom, having just ditched the gun, and the memorial service breaking free. This is probably our last scene of the game. We're gonna kind of do some like wrapping things up, but first, in this moment, Drake, Francis, you've stashed the gun in the teacher's desk. What are you saying to each other?
What the hell was going on in there? Why did you leave the ceremony?
Gerard texted me, said that something really important or really, I don't know, crazy was going down. And so he said that he wanted me to meet him by the bathroom so that, I don't know, so we could go fix it or figure something out or whatever. And I think that we were both
saying the ceremony wasn't important?
Of course it was. Of course it was. But it sounded like it was urgent and dangerous, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, fuck that. That's white people business. We've got stuff to do. Look, the ceremony was a ceremony. It's done. We need to do something else instead. I need you to help me. We gotta get the people who are responsible for what happened.
I'm not gonna help you run the mayor's car off the road, man. Well,
do you have another suggestion?
We stage a sit-in or some kind of protest.
That's so piss weak. What is that? No one's going to pay any attention to us at all. There's only a few of us. We got to do something that makes an impact.
So we block the roads, we block traffic, whatever. We call attention to ourselves. We don't hurt anybody. That doesn't help.
Yeah, sometimes it's the only thing people pay attention to. I don't know, man. I like you a little more than I did yesterday, but yeah, sorry, go on.
At that moment, there's a bunch of, so there's people filtering into the halls, and you can hear people walking around, and then someone or other gets a call about the fact that there was like a giant accident, and there's all of a sudden excited, frantic talk in the hallway, and you hear like, has anyone been hurt? And 30 seconds later, you hear the sound of an ambulance going by the school. And I mean, another 30 seconds later, there's going to be the sound of the police going by the school to respond to the fact that there was a break-in at the gas station mere steps away from the accident. So as you guys are having your conversation, all of a sudden pandemonium is like slowly breaking out all around you.
Mm-hmm. The mayor doesn't happen to drive a semi, does he?
No, the mayor drives like a 70s station wagon with wood panel siding, and the wood panel siding is all like chipped and faded out.
Of course he does. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure where to go with this since we're running out of time. So, any suggestions?
Well, Jake, it sounds like you were planning to like really seize the moment and make a big show of force, and then you've kind of already been potentially like upstaged. Like there are potentially casualties,
totally.
big car crash. There's sirens going on, and I just want to know what kind of gang leader are you? Do you just let well enough alone, or do you try and like somehow seize this opportunity for something?
Yeah, maybe while everyone's distracted, it would be a perfect opportunity to go maybe to the mayor's house and do something there.
Awesome. So you.
I was trying to convince Francis to come with me, but it seems like he's not going to.
You know what we could do that doesn't hurt anybody? We steal his car and we shove it in the pit.
All right, that's a good start. That's a good start. Yep, you're on.
Oh, I don't steal cars.
So you were let's just cut. You were there. You were at the mayor's house.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to bring my guys as well.
They're like a 2-car home, and you see people from the house like hurriedly piling into the minivan, and like Silas's mom is sobbing. Silas's dad is like muttering to himself and like kind of frantically, jerkily like stop starting in his motions, and they're piling into the vehicle, and then they drive off. And so then it's just there's that one car left, the grandpa's car. Everyone else is speeding off in the direction of the accident because they heard Silas got hurt. And there's a moment. Francis, in the end, did they manage to convince you to get there? Are you standing with the 3 of them?
I'm with them to make sure nobody gets hurt.
Awesome.
Okay.
Is someone going to just go and try and hotwire the car? Is someone going to try and break into the house and grab the keys?
Yeah, I think we're going to break into the house, get the keys. I think that's...
all right.
I think I'll do it personally because Wings wasn't up to much last time I gave him instructions.
So in a place like this, no one really locks their doors. So just like walking to someone's house, finding their key rack, grabbing their car keys, taking their car and driving it off. it's not like there's like high risk like heist and burglary stuff, but anyone could see you. It's broad daylight. The grandpa could still be home, someone else could still be in the building. This strikes me as a moment of keeping your cool and acting despite fear and the potential of getting caught.
Okay. I think also if I get the opportunity, I'm gonna escalate it. I'm not just gonna take the keys. I'm gonna like turn the stove gas on or something like that.
Okay.
But I'll make that roll.
Into the house, you're going and turning on the pilot on the gas stove.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Roll to keep your cool.
Okay. I got. Wait, that's 2d8. Sorry. I got 6 plus. I think it's plus 2, right? Yeah. So I got 8. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong
So
character.
7 and 9. The MC will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. Yeah, as you're walking into this house, you know, you're gonna walk to the house, grab the keys, walk out, grab the car, and later people will find it in the pit. But you can see like the rustling of Venetian blinds as someone like peers out to like watch what you're doing from a neighbor's house across the street. It's the old Jenkins home, and so there are definitely people watching you, and whether they recognize who you are or not, it's not clear. But a neighbor is looking on.
Okay, I might just give them the finger and continue. Do what I was going to do.
Awesome. So you've got the car. Who piles in the car with you? Does everyone?
I do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So we jump cut to we're at the edge of the pit. Are you like putting a brick on the gas pedal? Or are you just like putting it in neutral and pushing it?
This is all your show, man.
Yeah, totally. Well, it was your idea, but you know. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Wings to like drive it towards the pit, and then at the last minute, like jump out.
Yeah, why do it? What are the safe ways?
Well, I kind of want to punish him for screwing up before.
Oh.
So I think that like in Wings' mind, it's going to be like this like really cool like you know, like get it like gunning down towards the pit, and then they jump out at the last second. But it's actually like more like, you know, like got it going, and then the moment Wings like takes his foot off the gas, it's like kind of like lurching and then just like slowly rolling forward, and he like kind of tries to leap out of the vehicle, but kind of like his foot gets caught, and so there's like more like a flop out of the vehicle. So he's kind of like gets up and dusts himself off and looks sheepish as the car kind of rolls forward and lurches down into the pit, and kind of you get this like thud crash. And it's like pretty big, like dinged up, but it's definitely lodged deep down there in the pit. Do you have any words? What do you say in this moment, Drake?
I just kind of scoff and turn away and like cut him. I'm kind of blanking him. I think he's lost his chance to be the second in the gang. I'm seeing him as weak and hopeless at this point. So, I mean, I think if the game was going longer, I'd go through a few more escalations and then probably hit my darker self and show them what's what. But I don't think we're quite there yet. So, might just leave it with him in kind of in the dust, and I just walk away and with the other gang member.
Awesome. And I want to I think we're moments away from wrapping up. but I want to. Sorry, Silas is introducing the in text there. Dylan wrote, "Todrick, this car is for you." But I see that Gerard and Francis have been texting, and you guys have been playing that out via the group chat. But I wanted just as kind of like our last scene. Gerard, you've been texting frantically with Francis, but like you're still in the school. Like you're the only one who's not like where the action is.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about everything that happened today?
Like I knew there was like a bigger thing going on, because I know I'm a witch, and most people don't know that's there at all. But just there has been. My head is fucking spinning because there was finding out that werewolves are a thing, then also making out with that new guy, having a gun pulled on me, and I think my intent is to try and I know I don't have this ritual yet, but I'd figured that with a little more XP I could get the binding ritual. And my intent would be to bind Cassidy and bind Drake, so that neither of them could. And bind isn't Francis, and try and stop them from hurting anyone else. But I'm also freaked out, and I'm gonna try and go get drunk.
Yeah. So the final thing I want to end on actually is Cassidy. Cassidy, when I asked about the darkest self, the exit was like when you wound someone you really care about. And when I asked you who you really care about, one of the answers was Cassidy. Cassidy just bolted away from you, terrified of you. What's going through your head right now?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sad. I mean, like, I don't know how I'm going to go into school tomorrow and like go to homeroom and like be in that room. I mean, I think I'm probably gonna do something stupid, which is probably go and like try to talk to her, like go to her home or something like that, and try to like, I don't know, make it better somehow. Tell her that I was just trying to like keep her safe or something. I just wanted to be friends with her.
Mm-hmm. And so are you going to seek her out to try and say that to her, or are you just wishing you could?
Yeah, I think I probably will.
Okay. How do you do that? Are you texting? Or are you showing up at her house later that night?
Probably showing up at her house later that night. I don't know if it's the same night as the party or not, but if we really want to make things interesting, yes.
Yeah. The party. Okay, so if she'd like been more with it, then she would have realized that she needed to postpone the party, because there was just like a big accident and like someone potentially died, and now it's just not a good time for a party. But she was too in shock and like rattled that she like just forgot she was having one. So then like not a lot of people show up, but like there's like kind of this like small party that she was like, oh shit, right, that's happening here at my house right now. Whoops. So people are at her house drinking, and it's like a weird vibe. But she's out on this porch, smoking and also holding I don't think Silas actually like gave her the rum that she'd wanted. So she like bust into her parents' liquor cabinet since they're in town for the weekend, and she's like drinking like sherry or something. She's drinking like swigs of sherry from the bottle, alternated with drags of her cigarette. She's out on the porch alone. She seems like really like just like crushed. and that's when you show up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to like. I think I'll probably try to like talk to her from a distance, probably, and just kind of apologize and say that I was just trying to protect her and keep her safe.
And she's like, I don't know how I could possibly ever believe that.
I mean, I followed you because I wanted to be your friend. I wanted to like help you guys steal shit because that's what you do.
When you became that thing, you came for me. You were coming for me. How am I supposed to believe that you were trying to protect me?
I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't know.
And she swigs back a bunch of sherry and says, I don't know. Just go home, Cassidy. You're not invited to my party.
And I think she'll take like one more kind of long look at her and then kind of become crestfallen and turn around and kind of just like walk home.
Whew. Okay, so this is the moment where like the like mournful indie ballad begins playing in the soundtrack of the movie.
Yep.
And the credits just start appearing like over top of the movie, like as you're walking home and you're walking past the like wrecked semi, and you're walking past the big gaping pit that is slowly consuming the town, and you're walking past the school where all of the chaos started this morning, and you're heading towards home. And then you know how like right after the credits, there's always that like that one little clip that they put in at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That clip is at the town morgue, and it's Silas on the like examination table, and this like weary old man, like he's like 60 or 70. He's wearing like two like coats like layered on top of each other because it's cold in there. And he's like setting out his tools, and he's going to examine Silas's body. And Silas's body is like mangled, like the arms are like positioned in a way that isn't supposed to be possible. And this last like little moment, we just see Silas's eyes like open wide again, and they're just entirely bloodshot. And we just see this zombie come back to life. And that's it. That's the game.
Yay!
Yay!
Nice.
Thank you so much. That's fun.
Yeah, thank you, Avery.
Yes.
Really.
Cool. So thank you all for playing. That was super fun. I feel like I was off to a bit of a slow start as an MC, but I think it really came together, and it was super fun.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was. It was a very mournful, depressing ending. We all seem to end on that same note.
Glad I could help. The emo werewolf.
That was really great. Yeah. All right. Well, we're still live, and I think that's because Rich has the ability to make us go unlive.
Yeah, he said let him know when you want him to stop the broadcast in the chat.
Okay, cool. I think now is a great time. Thank you all so much for playing. This was super fun.